96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. 3 brothers killed in an horrific car crash. The victims were their mother's only sons. The education minister touring schools on the first day for public schools. And the FNM launching a training program for aspiring candidates. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Duquesa Dean will be joining us. Also this morning, we are talking with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources about their Anchor Awards that are coming up. We'll get all the details about that. And then later in business, we are talking with the government group C2O, and we are talking about climate negotiations and climate change and where the country stands on this. We're going to get into all of that this morning. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you were sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, 3 brothers, all in their 20s, died in a car crash on Mile Butler Highway. This was early yesterday morning. Police identified the brothers as 24-year-old Philip McCarran Christie, 23-year-old Philip DiCaprio Christie, and 20-year-old D'Angelo Christie. They were their mother's only sons and had moved to New Providence from North Andros, where they were raised for, according to the relatives, better opportunities. Police reported that shortly after 2 a.m. yesterday, the brother was driving a metallic gray Honda Passport north along the highway with the other 2 as passengers, lost control of the vehicle and crashed into a tree on the western side of the road. It's unclear which brother was driving. Upon arrival at the scene, officers discovered the driver and front passenger trapped inside unresponsive. They were extricated through the use of the jaws of life and pronounced dead at the scene. The rear passenger was removed and taken to the hospital and later died. Minister of Energy and Transport Jo Beth Colby Davis, who says that Philip McCarran Christie was a promising young craftsman apprentice at BPL and that he represented the future of the nation. She said he was poised to make a valuable contribution to the energy sector. Philip DiCaprio Christie was employed at BTC as a member of its service delivery team, according to a joint statement from BTC and BPL. BTC CEO Samir Bhatti saying that Philip DiCaprio Christie, who completed his last shift on Saturday evening, always went the extra mile to get the job done. BPL CEO Siobhan Cambridge said that Philip McCarran Christie joined the organization in September 2023. According to Bruno Miller, the victim's uncle, D'Angelo Christie, was employed at a shipping company. There's a whole lot more on the story in today's Nassau Guardian. In other news, a 32-year-old Dutch national with permanent resident status facing multiple charges in connection with the seizure of psychedelic mushrooms, commonly referred to as magic mushrooms, from her home last month. Elike Holnik, facing charges of cultivation of dangerous drugs, possession of dangerous drugs with intent to supply, possession of dangerous drugs, and soliciting persons for the sale of dangerous drugs. Holnik pleading not guilty at her arraignment before Senior Magistrate Shaka Seville yesterday. Police allegedly found the mushrooms when they raided the Coral Harbor home that Holnik operates as an Airbnb with her husband, Jan Bier. Although his name appeared on the docket, Bier was not present for the arraignment, as he was remanded to Sandlands Rehabilitation Center last week for a psychiatric evaluation in relation to another charge. As for Holnik, the magistrate set bail at $7,000 with one or two sureties. Under the terms of her bail, Holnik has to wear an ankle bracelet and surrender her passport to the court. She's also forbidden from committing further offenses while on bail. Her trial is set for November 25th. And prosecutors opening their case against a Mexican man accused of rape. 38-year-old Juan Mendoza of Mount Pleasant Village is accused of sexually assaulting a 58-year-old woman on September 26, 2020. Mendoza, who is on bail, has denied the charge at his trial before Justice Wilhelmina Archer-Mins. The prosecution says that on the date in question, Mendoza went to a residence in Mount Pleasant Village after receiving information. The police prosecution went there after receiving information from the police control room on arrival. The first witness, Assistant Superintendent Mario Durrell, saying that he photographed a silver vehicle that was parked in front of the home. He said a lady's watch was wedged in the driver's seat crease. He says that the following day, he photographed Mendoza while at the CID department. You can read more on this case in today's Nassau Guardian as well. And the F&M launching a training course for all aspiring candidates to ensure they are prepared to serve the country properly if elected. F&M Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands announcing all of this at a press conference yesterday. Sands says every potential F&M candidate incumbents, including the party's leader and deputy leader, will be required to go through the program. 50 aspirants have gone through the training so far, which has been dubbed F&M Candidates Academy. A second and final cohort of 50 is expected. Sands not disclosing if former Prime Minister Dr. McMinnis has attended a session or has indicated if he will attend. Overseas, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pushing back against a new wave of pressure to reach a ceasefire deal in Gaza after hundreds of thousands of... And U.S. President Joe Biden says he needed to do more, Netanyahu, after nearly 11 months of fighting. In his first public address since Sunday's mass protest showed many Israelis furious response to the discovery of 6 more dead hostages, Netanyahu says he will continue to insist on a demand that has emerged as a major sticking point in talks: continued Israeli control of the Philadelphia Corridor, a narrow band along Gaza's border with Egypt, where Israel contends Hamas smuggles weapons into Gaza. Egypt and Hamas deny it. Netanyahu calling the corridor vital to ensuring Hamas cannot rearm via tunnels. He called it the oxygen of Hamas. Israelis had poured into the streets late Sunday in grief and anger in what appeared to be the largest protest since the start of the war. The families and much of the public blaming Netanyahu, saying the hostages could have been returned alive in a deal with Hamas. A rare general strike was held across the country on Monday. Swiss federal prosecutors say they have ordered house searches and interrogations as part of an investigation into possible electoral fraud after an advocacy group unearthed thousands of fake signatures in voter rolls. Newspapers and Swiss media group Tamedia first reported that the initiative, Service Citoyen, or Citizen Service, had filed a criminal complaint against malfeasance that could have skewed results in Swiss elections. The revelation has jolted Switzerland's vaunted system of direct democracy, where mail-in balloting is the main way that voters cast ballots, and where referendums 4 times a year give citizens a direct say in policymaking. The next such referendum is scheduled for September 22nd, where a biodiversity project is among issues on the ballot. One advocacy group commissioning an outside firm last year to collect some 10,000 signatures on voter rolls, subsequently discovering that nearly a third appeared fake, involving bogus addresses, falsified birth dates, and repeated signatures. In Switzerland, advocacy groups and others that want to float proposals for referendums must collect at least 100,000 signatures from eligible voters to qualify for national votes, and at times turn to outside firms to do so. And a Venezuelan judge issuing an arrest warrant for the opposition's former presidential candidate Edmundo Gonzalez as part of a criminal investigation into the results of the highly anticipated July election that both the ruling party and its opponents claim to have won. The warrant was issued at the request of authorities who accuse Gonzalez, a former diplomat, of various crimes including conspiracy, falsifying documents, and usurping power. Move is the latest escalation of repression against the opposition in the month after election officials declared President Nicolas Maduro had won a third 6-year term in office. Authorities sought to arrest Gonzalez after he failed to appear 3 times to answer questions from prosecutors. The 75-year-old has not made any public appearances since the day after the election. His campaign did not immediately respond to requests for comment from the Associated Press. And a Brazilian court panel unanimously upholding the decision to block billionaire Elon Musk's social media platform known as X across the country. The broader support among justices undermines the efforts by Musk and his supporters to cast the judge who made the decision as an authoritarian renegade who is intent on censoring political speech in Brazil. The panel that voted in a virtual session was comprised of 5 of the full bench's 11 justices. It will stay suspended until it complies with his orders and pays outstanding fines that, as of last week, exceeded $3 million, according to the decision. The platform has clashed with the judge over its reluctance to block users and has alleged that the judge wants an in-country legal representative so that Brazilian authorities can exert leverage over the company by having someone to arrest. In sports, after a spectacular season, arguably the best of her career, Bahamian hurdles specialist Devon Charlton is shutting it down. We told you about her injury yesterday. Well, the Bahamian world champion and world record holder in the indoors hurdles had high hopes for competing at the Diamond League in Belgium next weekend. However, given the injury she sustained over the weekend in Rome, the risk to run in Zurich and next weekend again in Brussels proved to be too great. Charlton ending the season as a finalist at the Paris Olympics. And major wins in New York and Jamaica, two other top three performances in the Diamond League, and the world champion and world record holder indoors. A great year, definitely. Friday, she hit the 8th hurdle at the Diamond League event in Rome, crashing through the 9th and 10th hurdles and did not finish. On Monday, an MRI test revealed that Charlton suffered a chipped bone on the inside of her right foot. Rather than risking greater damage by running in Zurich and Brussels, Charlton decided to shut things down. Read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. We wish her a speedy recovery. The Bahamas dominant in the Open Men's Physique competition at the 72nd edition of the IFBB, the International Fitness and Bodybuilding Federation Elite Pro Mr. Mexico event. Pro athletes Jason Johnson and Kaif Young finishing first and second in their category on Saturday, taking home the top two prizes from an IFBB Elite Pro event for the second straight year. This year's competition held at the World Trade Center in Mexico City. Johnson has 2 pro cards in bodybuilding and fitness, earning the one for the IFBB Elite in Miami in 2021. Young entered the professional ranks a year later. From college football, Bill O'Brien cautioned it was just one win, but a massive first win for 2024 for Boston College. Strachan Ward totaled 138 yards of offense, including a 13-yard touchdown reception against his former team as Boston College stunned number 10 Florida State 28-13 Monday night. Ward, a Tampa native who played at Florida State from 2019 through 2022, had 77 yards rushing and 61 yards receiving as the Eagles totaled 263 yards rushing. It was a resounding debut for Bill O'Brien, who was introduced in mid-February after Fred Hafley's departure to become the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator. Florida State had won 5 straight in the series, but was overmatched on offense and defense in this one. The Seminoles, viewed as a contender for the spot in the 12-team college football playoff, dropped to 0-2 for the first time since 2021. And from the NFL, San Francisco 49ers rookie receiver Ricky Pearsall placed on the non-football injury list after he was shot during an attempted robbery. The move made Monday clears up a spot for the 53-man roster for the 49ers, while Pearsall recovers after being shot in the chest Saturday in central San Francisco. Pearsall was hospitalized overnight and released on Sunday from the San Francisco General Hospital and Trauma Center. The team hasn't given any indication on how long Pearsall will be out, but he must miss at least 4 games while on the non-football injury list. The Niners can bring Pearsall back to the active roster after that by using one of their 8 designations to bring a player off an injured list in the regular season. Pearsall was walking alone carrying shopping bags to his car shortly after 3:30 p.m. Saturday when a juvenile suspect attempted to rob him. Officers in the area responded immediately and provided emergency medical aid and arrested the suspect. Pearsall was shown on video from a witness with a large chest wound as he was helped into an ambulance. And Giancarlo Stanton reaching 25 homers for the 10th time in his big league career. Garrett Cole struck out 9 over 6 innings before his right calf cramped, and the New York Yankees beat the Texas Rangers 8-4 Monday night. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got a high pressure system over the western Atlantic that's extending its influence over the Bahamas. That's going to mean easterly to southeasterly flows across the region and abundant moisture throughout the lower to mid levels of the atmosphere, particularly in association with the mid-level trough, again over the western Atlantic, extending southwards towards the Bahamas, bringing the unsettled weather and increased moisture. There's also a tropical wave across the eastern Caribbean Sea, producing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. The potential for strengthening as it moves westwards towards the western Caribbean Sea and southwestern Gulf of Mexico later in the week. But no direct impact for us there with that one. So, while widespread showers and thunderstorms are expected, rainfall amounts and intensity will vary across the islands. Localized heavy rainfall and sudden downpours are possible, leading to localized flooding, especially in low-lying areas, and showers and thunderstorms can temporarily reduce visibility. Temperatures today, high temperatures and humidity will increase the potential for heat-related illnesses, and so everyone's being advised to take precautions while outdoors. A heat advisory has been issued for the entire country again, with temperatures expected to exceed 90 degrees during the day. High heat index values are expected as well, particularly in the afternoon, getting above 100, well, feeling like it's more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, for today, your forecast. For the extreme northern Bahamas, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon. For the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunderstorms, again, mainly in the afternoon. We've got about a 20 to 40% chance for showers and thunderstorms across the entire northern northwest Bahamas region. For the central islands, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunderstorms today. And for the southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy with a few isolated, widely scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon and evening. Temperatures today getting up to about 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 77 Fahrenheit, 25 Celsius. But the heat index will be a factor, as we said, will make it feel like it's about 101 Fahrenheit, 30 Celsius or more. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Back to school is around the corner. Move to the top of the class with this amazing Scotiabank Back to School credit card offer. You could win your share of prize money valuing $10,000 when you spend $150 or more on any Scotiabank credit card to purchase books, uniforms, technology items, or other academic items. 10 lucky customers will each win $2,000 in cash back towards their purchases. Promotion runs July 12th through September 30th, 2024. Drawing date is Friday, October 11th, 2024.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
RBC is good for all of you. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure. RBC. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Hey guys, this Friday, September 13th, Dunkin' is celebrating you on Customer Appreciation Day. On this special day, we're honoring our beloved founder, George Myers, in the sweetest way possible. All day, with every drink purchase, you'll get 5 free munchkins, George's favorite treat. Thank you for being part of the Dunkin' family. So, mark your calendar for Friday, September 13th. Swing by Dunkin' and grab your favorite drink and enjoy 5 free munchkins on us because we appreciate you. Offer valid only on Friday, September 13th. Thank you for choosing Dunkin'.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way? Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, we've got Duquessadine. Duquessadine, good morning.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Great to have you with us.
Good to be here today.
Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a little bit. You
Yeah.
were here last week.
Yeah.
Good to have you in the studio with us.
I'm glad
again.
to be back.
All right. It's September.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah, it's Christmas. It's just.
Oh, man.
Let's just say it. August
much,
went by
eh?
so fast.
The pumpkin spice is back out.
You know,
so
I've
be
never had it.
Oh, yeah? Some
No.
people don't like it at all.
You've had it?
Yeah. What?
Okay. I mean, I'm just asking. I'm just asking.
Every year I have to get it. Okay. Anyway. But yeah, puts you in the,
Christmas mood?
well, in the mood for the end of the year.
Okay. I have to try it
Yeah.
then. I've never tried it.
For more comfortable weather conditions.
That I'm looking forward
And,
to.
And then Halloween, I already see people talking about Halloween. So the year is done.
It's done.
Yeah.
It's done.
It's crazy. Wow. Well, it is very wet outside. And so we are still in the summer and we are still in the hurricane season, about to hit the peak. And so we have to keep that in mind, despite what the
Absolutely.
calendar says.
Correct.
We are entering the terrible time.
September, usually.
Yeah. And of course, for a number of anniversaries, we've got Dorian here at this time because it was many days. So this is that weekend. So keep that in mind, folks. Okay, so coming up this morning, we are going to be talking about climate change and climate negotiations and climate finance. That's coming up in our business hour with the C2O. Out of the Office of the Prime Minister. We'll be talking with them about what they do and what they're going to be doing over the next few years. That's coming up. Before that, though, we're going to be talking with the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources about their Anchor Awards. This is new, and we'll get details about what that's all about.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. So that's all ahead, but right now let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, public schools are reopening for the new school year yesterday, and you could tell the difference on the streets. Oh boy, and it's going to be like that for a number of weeks.
Yes.
And it's tough, the mornings, the afternoons.
I heard yesterday wasn't so bad because
Who did
all
you
of the
talk to?
schools
Oh,
weren't
okay.
completely open. I think
so
they
right.
all open tomorrow. So if yesterday was bad, then by
Yeah,
tomorrow it's going to be worse.
It's going to get worse. By Thursday, you'll see how it really is. And it's
Yeah.
going to be, all right. So some students, I think almost all the primary and preschools.
Yeah, and I think
But
government 7th and 8th.
Right. So new students
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
junior and senior schools, and then returning some will today, and then by tomorrow it'll be everybody.
Yeah.
So, and then a lot of people were off by half day yesterday.
Right.
So the schedule isn't fully in swing yet.
Right, settled.
But give it a couple days. But it's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad. We can see the big difference. But how was it for the first day of school? We want to hear from you about it. And the Minister of Education toured some schools, and our teams were out talking to students and teachers. Take a listen to this.
Over 40,000 students returned to schools across the country on Monday for the start of the new school year. Over at LW Young Junior High School, teachers welcomed 665 students with open arms and fun activities.
We were one of 3 junior high schools in New Providence to increase our BJC passes. And so we set a target of 56%, and we exceeded that target. And so we are very grateful for that. And congratulations to my class of 2024 for doing that for us.
Students say they're happy to be back in the classroom and have their sights set on the honor roll.
My summer was great. I just come back to school to see how it feels to be in junior school.
And what are you most looking forward to this year?
I'm making 4 points.
I'm a bit scared, but I'm actually happy to see my friends from different schools come in and talk to us.
For grade 9, I got to take BDC, so really I got to change up my study habits.
The junior high school was Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin's first stop on her tour of public schools on day 1. She said all students were able to return to the classroom on Monday, but noted that not all teachers have been deployed to schools.
They're in the process of being deployed. The first week is the week of adjustment. We don't, I know of no disruptions or no issues on any campus, and we don't expect anything of that nature. We've worked very hard to ensure schools are ready, as they have been every year, apart from 1 or 2 little issues last year, due with the smell and chemical smell in a particular school and some other matters. But we don't have a concern, but then we received no report of that.
Hannah Martin also used the opportunity to address concerns about the frequent disruption of water and power supply on Eleuthera in recent months and how this could impact students on the island.
Yes, we are concerned. I've spoken with the Member of Parliament, who is the Minister of Works, a few days ago. Of course, he's concerned also. But we are hopeful that these issues will be resolved. If we see we're going to have sustained issues, he and I discuss possible strategies to ensure minimal disruption in schools. But, you know, this is an electricity company that has sort of been struggling for quite a long time. And hopefully very soon we'll be able to bolster and strengthen its ability to deliver electricity without interruption in this country.
The minister's next stop was to E.P. Roberts Primary School, where she met with students and teachers.
Bienvenidos a la escuela.
Spanish teacher Kendra Cash says teachers have been busy preparing to welcome students back to school and are excited about the year ahead.
It feels awesome. It's been a long couple of months. The children, they're excited. The teachers are excited. And we're just ready to work. And hopefully the children, they are here ready to learn. And let's go forward.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. Morning.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Vonique Tude.
All right. So let's get your reaction to that, and tell us. We want to hear from you all. If you had students in the public school system or even in the private school system, how's it been these first few days? Interesting things said in that report there. Still, some teachers haven't been deployed. I think we heard the teachers union president, Belinda Wilson, saying some things like that. That some teachers didn't know where they're supposed to go, and even worse on the Family Islands, which is always puzzling.
It's weird.
Yeah, weird is a good way to put it.
Because don't the teachers go back early? Like, don't you
From last week, so why wouldn't that be worked out already? Are they waiting to see numbers as to we don't know how many students are going to be at this school, so we don't know where to put you?
I doubt that.
What could it be?
I doubt that. I don't know what it could be. But sometimes they shift the teachers around to different homerooms, different classes. I would really like to understand. Maybe it's just the way things have always been, so it's just the way that we continue.
No, refuse to accept that.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It happens every year. And she said that the first week is usually a week of adjustments and settling in. So, yeah, maybe that's just how it's always been. So.
Wow. Well, this is an interesting text here. This person says here, I honestly feel we have reached the point where schools should have 2 shifts. Teachers have to deal with too many kids in one class, plus I think it will help with terrible traffic. Now, what does that mean exactly? And will the same teachers work the 2 shifts?
How are the kids going to get to school?
And then what if you've got multiple kids and they're on 2 different shifts? I mean, that sounds like chaos. Are you going to put everybody in one family on the same shift?
It's a creative suggestion, but not complete.
But how many hours will it be in school?
Yeah.
You got some kids who are going to be in night school? What type of shift?
Yeah, maybe getting out at 6. Some start at 8. Some start at 12.
Again, the same teachers?
No, it would have to be different teachers coming
teachers
in at different, but the challenge is how the kids going to get to school, parents out of work. Do we need more classrooms? Maybe, so that the classes aren't so crowded. 30 to 35 students in a class is a recipe for some students to advance and some students to remain behind. Do we do testing to see, maybe certain students need more help than others?
Definitely do. We have all those results, but it's very clear. But apparently that's not a uniform thing. So some schools in some other parts of the island will have definitely fewer students,
right?
And so it's just not evenly distributed. So that's part of the challenge as well. But I don't know if it'll help the traffic. But we definitely have to find a solution to the traffic. It is insane that from September to May or so that we have this crazy traffic, and as soon as schools are closed, everybody can get to work very early or can leave 5 minutes before work starts.
Because thousands of children are going to school. You understand? I mean, like thousands of children are every morning going to public and private schools. Parents are on the streets just, trying to get their kids dropped off to school. You have preschool, you have primary school, you have special schools, you have home schools where people meet together, junior schools, high schools. And so it's going to be more people on the road in the morning.
If we allow everyone to travel with one child in the car, the way that it seems like we're doing, if the government is unable or unwilling to do a unified bus system, well, then we need a unified school bus system. And figure that one out as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And so that people do not have to be doing this madness.
Well,
get the kids outside, waiting for the bus, get on the bus, go to school.
Do you think that will really
make
reduce
a big
the
difference?
traffic?
Make a huge difference.
So the parents
cannot have everybody. I remember this is very bad in my neighborhood.
All
of us went to the same school.
Yeah.
And we never carpooled.
Wow.
What's that about? And everybody would be leaving the house at the same time. I'm telling you, all of us, the whole street went to QC. It didn't make any sense. And we did not catch rides with each other. All of our parents struggled to get us to school.
Wow.
going to the same place.
Yeah, carpooling sounds really, really good.
But if there was a school bus,
yeah, a school bus,
they
but
would not have to do that.
Would that be like an add-on though? That's another cost. I mean, it's a solution. Yes,
it'd be better than you sitting in traffic burning gas.
No, I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. But there are actual school pickup services now. What is it that makes us not feel comfortable enough? Do we not have the money to use those services? Because there are reliable services that, pick kids up and drop them to school, pick them up from school and drop them home. Again, it's because it's what we've always done. And I'll be straight up with you. When my daughter said, oh, she's going to get a car service to drop my granddaughter to school, I flipped. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. How many people could be in the car? Is she going to be safe? All this other stuff. So, I mean, I think it's because it's what we've always done. And I guess there's a certain privilege to that drop off. I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to you.
I hear you.
But, I mean, if we could vet those people and make sure that, kids can be safe, that they have enough equipment in the car, like seat belts and whatever is necessary for kids to be safe, paying attention to the kids.
It's going to cost a lot more for that than if it were a system that the
government, yes,
the city, offered,
right,
right,
correct,
yeah. So I mean, if you want to,
and even that, you just
and it won't ever be as big as a school bus.
No, it won't be as big as a school bus.
And you'll need plenty of those.
Yeah. And then, the other thing is...
So that sounds like a lot of traffic.
It is. And then the other thing is, like, people live in so many different pockets. Like, if you like, I'm just thinking about the system that is used stateside, right? If you live in a particular area, you go to a particular school, so that school bus has that one concentrated area for pickup. But you could be living in the east and go into... a school in the West.
Minor problems. You can easily coordinate this.
You can't just have one bus.
Or since you love to get in the car so much, drop the person to a depot and
maybe, because, we do need a solution.
That's an easy fix. You can figure that out. You can map it out. You can decide this is how we'll do it. We'll do pick up for this school here, pick up for that school there. If it's not if your house is not on the route, if you could drop the student to this location and we'll take it from there, something like that.
Okay.
But we don't need every parent on the street.
Well, I could be dropping
at
my baby to school.
And then what's going on is that people are trying to get ahead of the traffic and are waking up at 5 o'clock and are driving slow in front of me. Because they are 3 hours ahead of where they need to go, but they're like, I got to get up early, so I'm going to drive 5 miles per hour.
Dwight.
Every time.
No,
every September it happens. Every September.
Why
people
would
leave
they be out
early
at
to
5
drive
o'clock with their
slow.
kids?
To drive slow.
That's
because,
insane.
we're very early, but we have to leave now because the traffic will get crazy soon.
The kids are going to be off all day.
And that's exactly how the traffic problems start. Somebody driving 5 miles per hour. And then you see it. And then it builds up. And then next thing you know.
Very passionate about this.
Because every year.
Very, very passionate.
But we've been talking about this for a long time. And I mean, unless you all like it, you like the Septembers, you like the midterm when there's no one on the streets. Oh boy, I could have slept in later. You like Christmas when there's no one on the streets until it's time to shop. You like this crazy?
It's always been.
Yeah?
It's what it's always been.
These patterns?
No. Literally, ironic and funny thing is, when my daughter was 14, I think I got a service for her because she was older. So, she could get to school, pick up, and drop off. But not my 6-year-old grandchild. No. Older kids, yes. No, I'm not doing it for my grandbaby.
You would not allow?
No.
Okay. To get on a bus?
No.
Wow. Interesting. All right, let's hear what this caller has to say. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, DeQuesta.
Morning.
The more things change, the more they remain the same. I mean, we keep on discussing, apparently, these same issues over and over and over every school year when the obvious is glaring us right in our eyes. Firstly, our unified bus system for schools, I think, is a plus. I know that there was a pilot program for busing system in this country, but that seems to be just one cog of this wheel, one spoke of this wheel. The second part of it is, you talk about the larger classroom sizes, We got to look at the amount of teachers that we have here. Secondly, is there sufficient for smaller classes? Ideally, I believe every teacher should do at least about 15 students per class, so you can focus on those ones that really need the extra attention to try to get their grades and their education up. We also have the aspect that many of our islands do not have sufficient schools, whereas we have to now fly these students, many of them from the family islands, here into Nassau, increasing the class size. Whereas the talks about increasing schools in the family islands to encourage, but not only to encourage the students to go back to the individual islands, but also as a side note, we're looking at the career opportunities on these islands for the parents to migrate back to their islands. Nassau itself, or New Providence itself, is oversaturated. We need to redeploy our people back to their individual islands, put in the necessary infrastructure, and build this country. This country cannot just be Nassau-centric. I think this is the biggest problem. Until we get leaders that think outside of the box to this level, to start deploying the students back to the individual islands and helping them to help to build those islands, then the Bahamas is not going to get any better from where we are right now. Just my thoughts this morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. When will that day be? We'll get leaders who think like that. Caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Dwight. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well.
And good morning to your host.
Good morning.
I think fundamentally, notwithstanding the many, many very viable alternatives we have to the problems that we face, at the forefront of why nothing gets resolved is I've arrived at a point to where I think our current collegiate of leaders, they're tired. And I don't think that we should come to the conclusion that our leaders are surrounded by an idealist environment. I don't think we should come to the conclusion that we are more visionary than they are. What is becoming more apparent to me is a lot of the crop of leaders that we have elected are exhausted and tired and in some instances don't even know it. Because I will be one of the persons that say Jobette Davis entered into the transport environment as one of the more vigorous and aggressive transportation person that we've had in a long time. But I'm of the view that she's at a point of exhaustion right now. Because if you take an overview of transport in the last, say 10 to 14 months, nothing transformative has taken place, notwithstanding the overwhelming need that transportation has at this time for changes. One of the things that I said to the good minister is, mandate, you guys were talking yesterday about the extensive flooding and its impact on climate change and the future outcome. And I suggested that you don't stumble into the transformation of one of the largest emission sector in this country, which is taxis and buses. Mandate, set a timeline for the evolution and the transformation of this sector into EVs. Because we can't go on the world stage making big statements about climate change and what other big countries should do when we don't have a clear, very concise, functional, effective climate change policy rolling out in our own country. And this is one of when Prime Minister Davis came in and he started his passion for climate change, I thought it was refreshing. But look since he's come into office and ask if you see the Bahamas with a clear, very articulated, climate change policy being rolled out. There's still too much talk. So the point I'm making is, notwithstanding all of these things we're talking about, and you can point to so many areas, disability, transportation in the country, that's a 15, 20-year talk. The disability community is still shut in, still isolated. Paradise Island, as it relates to constant development, in a couple of 24, 36 months, the Caribbean, Royal Caribbean will open up its beach club. Massive movement between New Providence and Paradise Island, and we haven't begun to roll out or talk about park and ride, because everybody can be able to drive over that little bridge as the Paradise Island continue to grow. Visionless, and in a lot of instances, I think just tired. So the question we have to ask ourselves, is it the vision or is it the people that we're putting the vision in the front of? I'm beginning to lean on the side that it's the people, Dwight. Have a good one.
Okay, well, I mean, it's all the same. So you put the people with the lack of the vision, and so yes,
but
those are the only ones who would want to be in a system like the one that we have.
Because you put the people who could carry the vision, and you handcuff them, and they get frustrated.
No, I don't think they could carry the vision. No.
Thanks.
No. But these are people who can play the system that we have.
No, I think that there are people who really care.
I didn't say they don't care, but they just
really
are there
want to
status quo.
do things, but you can't do certain things because of all of the politics involved in it. And if you do speak out or act out, then you are like a black sheep or you're blacklisted or whatever. So where does it really lie? Does it lie with the people, or does it lie with the government, the executive leadership of the government? Like where does it lie? Yes, we're all tired, right? We're all tired.
Tired of them.
Right, and tired of the systems that we work within. So, I mean...
Well, we have to take full responsibility. You know that there are going to be people who aren't going to shake the carts. Right? And you've put in people you'd never heard of before. They'd never spoken out on anything. Not even called a talk show, talked to anywhere, ever. But they are
they might
suddenly...
be in my body, I gotta...
Oh, right. That's all. That's the only thing you know.
In my body, I gotta
they're
put them
wearing
in.
the color that you like.
Right.
But you never heard any position of theirs before. And so can you be surprised? Well, if you want it to be relevant, then you get what you get, and you get what you're getting.
Correct.
But if you heard people speak out on things before, like, oh, this guy's into that, she's into this. Now, we've seen that before, and it still didn't work out.
Yeah.
But again, that's because the leader didn't have any vision. And so you've got to weigh all of this when you step into that booth. But anyway, let's get back to these messages. This person says here, this is why the online platform should have been refined instead of abandoned. I think they're talking about education.
Yeah, school.
I don't think it's been abandoned.
I think it's still working in some of the family islands.
But we had major problems in New Providence, and they definitely want people back in the classroom.
Yeah.
Major problems. This person says, is there a reason that children are let out in the afternoon instead of being kept until 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.? Given the shortage of stable families, the school environment is a better environment to keep them in and keep them out of trouble. Your thoughts? I hear you. That's been a hot topic for years here and all over the world, extending the school hours. I know teachers here, I don't believe have looked at that favorably, because they say they have families of their own to deal with, and the longer days and without more pay.
Right. Well, definitely would need more pay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Definitely would need more
so
pay.
So you think?
But I mean,
so you say. But will others think that?
You know, like. We do need to look at something. I know some students have to be to school 7:30 in the morning in the Florida area, and they're in until like 4:00, right? So maybe that can be an option even to alleviate some of the afternoon traffic, and even I know that there are times where in some teachers offer like after school, and you pay an extra $5 or something like that.
There are
and
lots of clubs and all kinds
right,
of
they
things.
do like assistance with homework and that sort of stuff. So that could be like an extension to the actual school day, but not formalized.
But that's already happening. So they're
Yeah.
saying, so I'm sure that would mean after 5, there would need to be more of those things. So imagine this would go on.
No,
till-
at 5
what?
o'clock
Or everything would have to end?
Right. It would
Okay.
definitely have to end. You come pick up your children because you're getting off.
Mm-hmm.
Most people work, I think, that 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so get your children, go home and do your dinner and
Mm-hmm.
all that sort of stuff. Right.
If you think 5 p.m. is bad now, wait till there. But hey.
But that makes 3 o'clock to
Yes,
4 o'clock
3 o'clock
bad.
would.
Right.
Well,
for
3
a
o'clock wouldn't
pickup.
be so bad anymore.
Right.
You could,
right.
yeah,
And then again at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, it's bad again.
especially if we don't have a bus system.
Right.
This person says that we don't trust our neighbors with our children, so judge a public school bus system.
How do we get there? That's the
What's
question.
What's up with that?
That's the question. How did we get there? And I think because we are so self-focused, right? Everything is about us and our kids or me and my family. Like, how did the neighborhood erode to the place where we don't know who our neighbors are? Because that's not how we grew up. We grew up knowing our neighbors, interacting with our neighbors, being able to be chastised by our neighbors. So someone come for me?
No, I was saying you're saying this now, but you're the one who wouldn't trust.
No,
the pickup service.
That's different from talking
It's
to your
different?
neighbors.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, at a certain age, like I told you, my daughter, when she was a teenager, I was
Mm-hmm.
okay with it because I felt that, she could competently take care of herself.
Mm.
I feel differently about my small granddaughter. So I think a lot has to do with how secure you can feel with your child. Being if it's the school bus and all the other children are being picked up,
Yeah.
maybe, but
Well,
no.
make sure the cameras on the buses, everybody can see what's going on. Right?
If it's a proper system,
vet the drivers carefully and want to make
Correct.
them do all kinds of driving tests
accountability,
frequently.
and you need all of that in place for
Do all of
parents to be comfortable. But I want to say that we need to get back to community living and being okay with our neighbors and building relationship with our neighbors.
So the texter who texted about the shift system for schools says, Dwight, it works in other countries. The shifts can be 6 to noon, 6 a.m. Wow, and 12 to 6. It can work. 6 a.m. for school.
Yeah, but where the children go 12 o'clock if the parents to work? It's a lot. I mean, there are options that could be looked at. It's a lot. It's like a big, massive elephant, and there's no one approach because there's so many things we need to look at. Some kids are not best in the morning. Some are best in the morning.
Yeah.
Some kids are, they're smart. They understand. You say it once, they get it, they retain it. You have other kids who are falling below the line. They need more attention. So many components to how we sort this out. The transportation is a part of it. The actual education is a part of it. So
And the teachers, is it going to be the same teachers? You don't have enough for that.
no, we don't have enough teachers. And how do we
boy.
incentivize teachers?
Wow, this person says here, there's already a huge demand for teachers. We know their salaries could be much better. That's putting it mildly. The reality is a lot of schools don't have enough teachers or classrooms for small classes. A decade ago, QC's smallest class had more than 30 students. Easier said than done. Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Ooh. This person says here, regarding the previous caller about transportation, when are the license plates going to be readily available? This is beyond ridiculous. Law-abiding citizens are being pulled over by police daily as a result of this. Well, yeah, and people are getting into accidents with people with no license, and then don't know
who it is.
If the person pulls off,
Right.
don't know what that was.
Right.
It's just a black note.
Yeah,
it's always a note, or a Honda.
Or a cube.
Or a cube.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Or a cube.
Interesting.
It used to be Paso, I guess.
Yeah, it
We
used to
moved
be
on.
Paso.
We
Yeah,
moved
we
on.
upgraded.
But-
Yeah, we upgraded.
Let's take these calls really quickly. We want to get to some other things in the news today. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight and Duquesa?
Duquesa.
Duquesa
Yes.
Dean, yes.
Mm-hmm.
C. Allen Johnson. Hey, Dwight, I'm going to look for a recording of Jeffrey Lloyd and myself talking about this exact same point we're talking about today in 2005. Or something around there on another station. I mean, full-out conversation concerning the use of technology. At that particular time, Microsoft was winding up its Microsoft student program, and was it Khan Academy was just about to start because Microsoft figured that he came up with a better system. And we talked about the education system adopting, and we talked about it for a number of years. I talked about it on a number of shows. But technology now allows you to augment learning. And so here it is that we have more than maybe 60 or maybe 90% of our students not meeting the requirements. The beauty about technology is that technology can pinpoint the strengths and weaknesses of individual students. It can actually accessibility, develop skills, adjust the levels, provide help, and track progress. The teacher then becomes almost like a custodian of the classroom because the technology and artificial intelligence is not new. Just that we just found out about this concept called GPT, and it's adaptive and predictive technology has been around for decades. And so what happens then is you look at every single student where they are and where we want to be. And so you could have individuals sitting in the same classroom, one on the 5th grade level, one on the 6th grade level, one on the 7th. This is the 6th grade. Somebody's in the 5th. Here's the 6th grade. Somebody's in the 5th. Somebody is at the right level. Somebody's above. The computer teaches each one and moves them forward and where they need to be. Bring the ones behind up to where they, etc. And these are not like futuristic type environment. Our education system is rooted in the 19th century. And we are 24 years into the 21st century. And so our skill sets we're developing people for, our processes that we are using, our plantation is archaic at best. We've been patching these systems. What we need is leadership that understands where we are as a country. I know we're focused on education today, but it's across the broad thing. We need what is called a disruptive horizon. To literally look at every aspect of where we are for us to be competitive with Dwight. We are rapidly past the point of where we say a developing country. We haven't failed yet, but we're rapidly moving that, not because of fault, but because of our lack of adaptive technologies of the 21st century.
Wow. Okay, very scary. Thank you very much. Let's take these calls really quickly and want to get to your text messages, then we have to take a break. Good morning, caller, you're on the air. Caller, good morning, you're on the air. Are you there? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, man. What I'm looking at is that you have a lot of... I think we have sufficient teachers. The problem is the salary that they're paying the teachers is not attractive. You find that teachers who are certified to teach in the private sector are doing very well. And those who are in the government sector with degrees, they are basically on the same level. But you can't pay a certified teacher $1,300, $1,400. They're not going to be attracted to the government system. So the government needs to reconstruct the salary scale coming in for teachers who are certified. And those who may have a degree will be a little bit more. But if you keep it the way it is, people are not going to be attracted to come there to teach. And those teachers are just as knowledgeable as the ones who have the so-called degree. So we have to look into that. You know?
Okay. I don't know if you're right about the private school teachers making more than the public school.
That much more. Yeah.
No, I don't think they make more. Maybe
Not
some
that
certain
much
schools
more,
or more at all.
Yeah.
But it depends on the school. But generally, it's public schools better, and that's not good. So that should tell you something. But good morning, caller, on the air.
Good morning and a pleasant day to you both.
Good morning.
I'll correct the last caller. Government teachers are paid more than many private school teachers.
Yeah, very much so.
And the previous caller mentioned adaptive learning. I'm happy that the Minister of Education in her annual presentation, back to school presentation, did make mention of it. Those things are all available. The thing is, the cost of it sometimes, we amplify the cost. For example, we have internet providers and all those things. We, as a country, need to invest in education and not charge, the regular price. We need to give subsidy to a massive organization like the Ministry of Education, like even the institution, the private schools, and so on. So we need to invest in the program. That will do well. I'm a computer teacher, so I know what we're talking about. Some of these things exist many years ago, and we are not fully implementing it. Because even to get the student the tablets, and all the things, we give them the lowest grade one rather than the highest grade one.
Wow.
At cost price.
Yeah.
So things need to be better. But I really call about the flooding situation and some other situations. The flooding, all the gas stations, many gas stations were underwater. We have those situations exist. I call about the trust as well. You see, my experience, we are not just individual per se. When I work at Trustco made trust. And the way the trust is, you have engineers. The Bahamas is better than sometimes that it happens to get out in the public. There are so many engineers that check to see, the weight, the this, the that, and the things that need to be in place. So that perhaps, once again, I say collaboration. With the very many construction companies in the country, even local ones, the top-notch local contractors, they can perhaps have contracts and perhaps subcontract others, but they'll be the ones to do the supervision. We need supervision. Because when certain expensive or any building, a private building versus a public building, they need inspection all along the way, and nothing can pass through. I remember Mr. Gondora, a gentleman from Mexico. He controlled Trustco. And when you were making the wooden truss, it kind of gets passed until it passes through all these different engineers and all of these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So we need really the inspection situation.
Yeah.
I'm also a walker. When I walk a road, I see the way the road is paved. I see the road was recently paved, and the road is not even paved perfectly. It's not just calling against any government. We're just talking about we too have a
standards,
vested interest in certain things.
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
things I would like to speak to one-on-one, like with the policy makers, rather than make it look like we're embarrassing our government. But
Great points.
Lot needs to be done.
Yeah.
All along.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All right, let's read these messages before we go to the break. So this person says here, we can't trust our family with our kids. That's another one of those. That's very disturbing. What's going on? There is a school in Nassau Street that goes on shift. Oh, really?
Really? What type of school?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And what type of shift? Tell us more.
Yeah.
This person says, we elect governments to get things done. The transport issue really needs to be depoliticized as part of the NDP, the National Development Plan. My suggestion for the transport system would be as follows. Mandate the implementation of a unified bus system in the national interest. We've got examples like MARTA in Atlanta and others. For current bus franchise owners, work out a 20-year commission structure that they all share an equally or similar, and government has to have the political will to use it. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, we read that already. This person says here, the shift system works in countries with billions of people. Our 400,000 population doesn't have the infrastructure to accommodate it. Okay, and this person says here, we must take caution when it comes to kids staying in school late. Remember, everyone isn't good people. Mentored kids usually get groomed and molested. What now? Usually?
I mean, these are some of the realities of our, situation.
Usually.
Yeah, they
unfortunately, often, sadly, but not usually. Usually, get a babysitter or rearrange your job time. Kids get indoctrinated from 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's enough. We don't need our kids living at school. That person seems to need a sitter, not a school. All teachers can't be trusted. Remember the kids that were sexually abused by teachers. To parents who need their kids living at school, enroll them in after-school programs. Well, they weren't saying living at
there's
school.
a lot of reference to lack of trust, though. There's a lot of,
We've got a big problem.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, it's been a very sad few days in terms of traffic fatalities. What's going on? We talked about transport and energy issues. We'll get more into that as well this morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
RBC is it for all of you. Life is full of twists, turns, and defining moments that create your own unique story. However your story unfolds, we're here to help guide you through it. From every big decision to every new adventure, RBC is it for all of you. Visit rbc.com/Caribbean/all of you.
It is time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Find your loan solution with RBC. It is busy out there, folks. We've got a lot of hot spots to tell you about. We've got, let's begin from east to west. We've got Eastern Road, heavy traffic for you from well east of San Souci Road to about Johnson Road. If you're heading westbound, Prince Charles Drive also busy near Elizabeth Estates and near the major intersections like Fox Hill Road. Heavy northbound traffic for you, slow moving. And then Prince Charles Drive gets much heavier the closer you get to Beatrice Avenue, and that's going to be well east of College Garden Road as well. And again, near Robinson Road and Soldier Road, and straight through from Robinson at Soldier all the way to Robinson at Marathon East-West Highway. So slow-moving westbound traffic there. Soldier Road is going to be seeing lots of hot spots as well. North of that intersection, straight through to Village Road, and near Windsor Place and East Street. Heavy traffic both directions on Soldier Road there. Independence Drive, not a place you want to be this morning. Westbound and eastbound traffic between the roundabouts, heavy for you, especially westbound. And then Carmichael, this is unprecedented heavy traffic well west of Fire Trail if you're heading eastbound, all the way up to Blue Hill Road. Blue Hill Road is busy for you, especially near Zion Boulevard and Cowpen Road. Cowpen Road, heavy eastbound traffic. And Blue Hill near St. Vincent and Carmichael, and on the way to Independence Drive at the roundabout there. Milo Butler Highway, of course, heavy traffic well south of Hamster Road, straight up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway roundabout, and again at the six-legged roundabout, multiple directions there. Saunders Beach, eastbound traffic, slow moving near the roundabout with New Providence Highway. Glaston Road is busy as well. Traffic from well south of Fire Trail straight through to the roundabout with Bahamas Boulevard and JFK Drive, and slow moving westbound traffic on Carmichael to Coral Harbor. Just so wherever you think a car could go, that's where traffic is right now. That's your first look at traffic, brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
Living with a neurological condition shouldn't define you. At Cleveland Clinic in Florida, we do whatever it takes to make life better today while discovering new treatments for a brighter tomorrow. From epilepsy management to specialized spine care and brain tumor surgery, we're delivering world-class neurology care for the day-to-day, for the days you live for every care in the world. Visit clevelandclinicflorida.org Nassau-Caribbean.
Nassau. Get ready for a night you simply won't want to miss. For the first time in over 40 years, experience an evening with Eddie Menace live at the Amphitheater, Nassau Cruiseport on Saturday, October 5th. Tickets are on sale now. Go to ticketboxevents.com or go to the Nassau Cruiseport box office located in the Junkanoo Museum. Joining Eddie on stage, Franchon, Gino D, Ira Storr, and the Higher Level Band. An evening with Eddie Menace live at the Amphitheater, Nassau Cruiseport, Saturday, October 5th. Get your tickets now.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Duquesa Dean. All right, so you heard that text we got earlier about the school with the shift system. We never heard of that before. But anyway, somebody else texted and said that school is not on a shift system. The school on Nassau Street does not operate in a shift. They just start much later than most other schools and come out later. Class starts at 10.
Is it a home school? Like, what type of school is it?
And school gets out at 6.
10 to 6. Okay, that's doable. Yeah, I wonder what is it, a private school? Like,
it's got to be private.
Yeah.
That's very unusual. Okay, interesting. This person says here, most times the students don't want to learn. Don't blame teachers. Students will pay to go to night classes later, but learn for free. But learning is free, I guess it's saying. Your other caller said teachers teach better if they are paid more money. So give politicians more money and they will not steal. Ha! Life lesson. Okay, they're hitting on all the points. Okay. Well, not that they'll teach better, but you might attract more people who would be good teachers to the field.
And more people generally.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
more people.
That's not necessarily good.
That
But
who want to be teachers.
More people who want to teach might be encouraged to.
Yeah.
All right, so as we mentioned, it's been a lot of tragedy over the past few days, some terrible accidents, lots of death. And the most recent accident yesterday morning, just unbelievable. 3 brothers killed in this crash on Milo Butler Highway.
Wow.
Take a listen to this report from our Vonnie Katut.
Young men who died tragically in a car accident on Sir Milo Butler Highway on Monday have been formally identified as brothers 24-year-old Philip McCarran Christie, 23-year-old Philip DiCaprio Christie, and 20-year-old D'Angelo Christie. Their cousin Aaliyah Benaby said their family, which hails from North Andros, is heartbroken.
You can't imagine the loss, honestly. It's like whatever pain you ever felt in your life times a billion.
Police say the driver of a metallic gray Honda Passport and 2 passengers were traveling north along the highway around 2 a.m. when he lost control of the car and crashed into a tree on the western side of the highway. Officials used the jaws of life to remove 2 of the men from the vehicle. They were pronounced dead on the scene. The third brother was taken to hospital where he later succumbed to his injuries. Their deaths have sent shockwaves through the country. Benaby remembers getting the call as she got ready for work.
My mom called and asked me if I was sitting down, and I was like, that's a weird, request. After that, she told me, at first she told me that both of my cousins had died, Philip and DiCaprio, and I couldn't accept it. So I started to call around to my family and everyone. They were answering the phone, but there was zombies on the other end.
Benaby said her cousins, who have an older sister, lost their father at a very early age. She said what has been particularly heartbreaking for their mother is none of them had children.
And my aunt, that's another thing she said to me when she finally spoke. She said her babies didn't even live their life long enough to leave behind any kids. She have nothing left of them. And that really went to me.
Energy and Transport Minister JoBeth Kobe Davis described Philip Christie as a promising young craftsman apprentice at Bahamas Power and Light's Clifton Pier Power Station. She said he was the future of the nation and was poised to make a valuable contribution to the energy sector. North Andros and the Berry Islands MP Leonardo Lightbourne urged members of his constituency to pray for the family. Benaby said her cousins were loved, and this loss has left a huge void in their hearts.
They were island boys. they came over here because Andros is the island we are from, and it isn't much of an economy, and it wasn't giving them a large enough future, so they came over here for a career and, you know, a better life. Or better opportunities, I'd say. I would want people to know that they were honorable boys, respectable, they were loved.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Vonnie Tude.
Yeah, just a real tragedy there.
Yeah. Unimaginable.
Yeah. All right, so we want to talk about this and the accidents, but we're going to do that after we come back from the news. We have to recognize that we've got something going on here, right? Something's going on, and we're going to need to have driver education and take a critical look at the design of our streets, the types of cars people are driving, and just attitudes on the road itself. The stuff I saw yesterday alone, just very disturbing. We want to get into that a little bit later, but we'll be back, folks. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way?
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 4224. That text rates apply. And now at 8:25, it is time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Here's what's going on. We've got a high-pressure system just over the northern Atlantic. That's extending its influence over the Bahamas and bringing easterly to southeasterly flows across the region. Abundant moisture is present throughout the lower and mid-level of the atmosphere, and all of this is going to help to bring in increased shower chances. We've also got a tropical wave in the Caribbean Sea. We'll tell you more about that in your tropical outlook in just a bit. So widespread showers and thunderstorms expected. Rainfall amounts will intensify across the islands, and localized heavy rainfall and sudden downpours are possible, and that could mean flooding in low-lying areas. The heat index will be a factor as well today. So, for today, your forecast for the northern islands. Partly cloudy with isolated showers, widely scattered thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon and evening. For the rest of the northwest Bahamas, including New Providence, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon and evening. For the central and southeast Bahamas, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon and evening. Temperatures today, we're looking at highs getting up to around 88 Fahrenheit. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit. And the heat index will make you feel like it's 102 Fahrenheit in some parts of the country. In your extended outlook for Wednesday, tomorrow, partly to occasionally cloudy and warm across the northern islands with a mix of sun and clouds for the rest of the country. And Thursday, partly sunny and hot across all areas as we begin a drier pattern towards the end of the week and a typical summertime weather pattern. In the tropics, we're watching a tropical wave moving westward across the eastern Caribbean Sea. That's bringing disorganized showers and thunderstorms. It has a medium chance, about 40% chance of developing into a tropical depression later this week or over the weekend as it moves west towards the southwestern Gulf of Mexico. Then there's an eastern tropical Atlantic wave. That wave, producing disorganized showers and thunderstorm, also has a medium percent chance, a 40% chance of developing into tropical depression in a few days as it moves slowly west, northwestward, or northwestward across the Atlantic. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. But that's your morning blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. Sherwin-Williams Paints got you covered for all your painting and equipment needs. Visit Sherwin-Williams Paints online or in store today. Time for another check of traffic brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. Here's what's happening in your real-time traffic. A number of hotspots to tell you about. We've got on West Bay Street, Saunders Beach, eastbound traffic heavy on West Bay Street towards the roundabout with New Providence Highway. And then again, as you get closer to downtown on West Bay, you're going to be seeing that traffic near Nassau Street. On Eastern Road, we've got heavy traffic just east of San Souci, and especially the closer you get to Fox Hill Road northbound and southbound near the school in the area, we're seeing slow-moving traffic there. And the westbound traffic on Eastern Road is going to go all the way to about Johnson Road before it gets better for you. Bernard Road, a number of schools in the area, heavy traffic there. And the Bernard Wolf Village Soldier Road intersection, very busy, especially northbound on Soldier Road toward the intersection. Soldier's got other issues, especially near Windsor Place and Old Trail Road. Heavy traffic there. Windsor, Soldier's backed up to East Street, really. Robinson Road, not moving much for you, especially the closer you get to Old Trail if you're heading westbound. Then there's Carmichael Road from about Fire Trail to Blue Hill. Slow-moving eastbound traffic, and Blue Hill Road is busy. Multiple spots near Zion Boulevard and Cowpen Road, and again from St. Vincent straight through to Soldier Road and north of there to Independence Drive. Both directions, heavy, slow-moving traffic, especially westbound. And even on Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, slow-moving eastbound traffic toward that roundabout with Blue Hill Road. We haven't even gone to Milo Butler Highway yet. Very slow-moving traffic from Hampster Road straight through the Fire Trail roundabout and all the way up to Tawny Williams-Darling Highway, and picking up again on the way to the Six-Legged roundabout with John F. Kennedy Drive, seeing heavy traffic as well. And over on Gladstone Road, things are looking a little bit better for you now if you're heading northbound, but it's still slow-moving. And seeing some delays on the John F. Kennedy Drive side westbound near Theodore Lane. Carmichael westbound as well. Slow-moving traffic to Coral Harbor Road. So lots of issues. You will need your patience. Good luck to you. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. Start a conversation at rbc.com/loan/all of you. And we are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with DeQuesta Dean. Before the break, we were talking about the terrible accident that has claimed 3 brothers, and want to talk about that and just 3 fatal accidents from the weekend into yesterday morning. And we've seen everything. One with a motorcyclist, a collision on New Providence Highway, which people do seem to think is a racetrack. Mm-hmm. And this is Milo Butler Highway, which is very, very dangerous on a regular day. Yeah. With the speed that drivers use, and also the fact that it is a very winding highway.
Yeah. Are lights on that road at night yet? I mean, I don't drive that way often. I wonder if there are... Can anyone
the parts where it's not well lit.
No.
Yeah. And again, it's got blind curves.
Yes.
You've got it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and people are not taking care, not taking care. We've got a lot of issues. We've got a lot of issues here, so we know speed. I'm not saying that's what happened here, but we can clearly look at the pictures that we saw, and more than likely, especially that hour, speed was a factor.
Trying to get
unfortunately.
home or something,
But we do have road issues, as we said. There's the blind turns, the unevenness of the roads. You hit a pothole and your car can go flying, and we often have people.
Debris is often in the road too.
Yeah, that's a big factor, especially after rain.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of people driving in vehicles that are not safe. Right, you've got bald tires, different size wheels, all manner of nonsense going on. And malfunctioning traffic signals as well, right? Bad timing on them, and just so many issues. And as we say, people just don't seem to care much, and will do whatever it takes to get wherever they want to go.
Yeah.
And all these factors are leading to a lot of issues.
And then we have a lot of people who, because it's a belief, they don't have driver's licenses, who have not gone to driving school or taking any, their parents taking them out or whatever and teaching them how to drive. We have a lot of people on the road without license to be on the road.
Yeah.
So where do they learn? Where do they learn whether they learn traffic safety? Where is that being taught?
Do they learn?
Right? So that's why they take all these risks on the road.
And it's hardly ever their car. And they can't spell insurance.
Yeah, right. There's no insurance.
And the lack of a license plate is not helping the situation either now. So we've got all of these factors.
Yeah.
And it's scary. Yeah. It's scary out there. Let's get your reaction to all this, folks. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. Are you there? No, call us back. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. I was telling you off air about the giant, I think it was a Mack truck. Could have been an international, but it was a huge, must have had several emergencies yesterday. Just going at least 80 on Prince Charles yesterday. And both I saw them going up east and saw them going west. And what is this?
That's another thing. Like there needs to be like a driving school specifically for people
they have
who
that.
Really well.
Commercial. You have to get a special commercial license.
Do they do like a special test and?
Oh yes,
all
it's
of
a
that?
special license. You're not supposed to have a regular license to operate a commercial vehicle.
Well,
but that doesn't mean that you won't be a crazy person.
Right.
Driving like a lunatic.
That's crazy. Because even I feel sometimes that some of the fuel trucks are going too fast on the streets.
Everything.
It's
either too fast or too slow. That's what everybody does here. There's very little in between, it seems. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight. Good
Hi.
morning to your guest.
Good morning.
With the like you made a comment just now about parents teaching children how to drive, and that's why a lot of them apparently don't know the rules of the road and so on and so forth. But that's not the case. Not for all of them. Because I taught my two kids all the rules of the road. As I get the study guide offline, allowed them to study it, and when they went and did their test, they passed.
Great.
Passed with flying colors because I took my time.
Yes.
Over a period of years, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
I started at the age of 15. They're showing them how to take them down to the fort, teaching them how to reverse, teaching them how to and so on and so forth. So the turn you see speeding, I always just show them. I used to see that car flying going past you. Watch when you get right into the red light. They're right there waiting on you. So there's no need to speed.
For true.
Okay, the place is too small for that, and there's too much traffic for that. No matter how they speed past you,
yep.
You can meet them right near to the red light or to one corner waiting on you.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's no need. These children just, I guess, when they get out, they want to do whatever it is that they want to do.
Some of them.
Yeah, some of them.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Most people
Great.
are only learning bad habits from their parents. But,
So that's good.
That's wonderful. All right. Got a lot of your messages here. This person says here. This was from yesterday. I said that I see the traffic cops, but they're saying irrespective of you saying that you see motorbike cops on the streets, they are not visible enough or populated during crunch time and at the known traffic hotspots. I'm on the road every weekday morning and afternoon because I do school runs. Yeah, I'm sure it definitely could be better.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
This person says here. I need to, I agree with you. I believe we need to look into the used tires being sold in our country. I don't believe they're safe. Well, used tires, I know that's a big thing here. It's a big industry here. But, I mean, seriously?
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the big problem is the duty on new tires.
Yes.
If that wasn't so high, people would be able to afford them.
Correct.
And tires are
it's
expensive.
a needed item, so why would the duty be so high?
But used tires, and then of course that means your used tires are barely going to match. They're never going to match.
And they
it's
will
very
only last so
important for
long
them to match.
Right.
It's very important. But you're just looking at the size. That's not good enough.
Agree.
But yeah, this is a problem. It is a problem. This person says here, this is beyond tragic. I do not want to hear the police or the energy minister wringing their hands because I recall about. Okay. Why are you bringing this into this, though? Anyway, I recall about a year or two ago, an elderly woman was knocked down on the highway, and there was a collective cry for all the things that could be done to make the streets safe. Today, traffic violations are 1,000 times worse, with police vehicles complicit in making third lanes, running red lights, not giving way, using the right turn lane to overtake traffic, then turning left on red in non-emergencies. Fix that, Minister of Failing Energy and Transport. Save us. Oh, boy.
Oh, gee. That's harsh. Yeah. But so many people are doing it. Yeah. Right? Making third lanes, running the red lights, turning left, trying to race to get out of the corner before the person has the right of way on the straight road. Comes like you're supposed to wait until it's safe to do that. As a matter of fact, that junction coming off of Paradise Island onto Mackey Street to turn right, people are turning right on red as well.
Oh, yes.
Which is a danger because you have the people on the next side of Mackey Street trying to come out. It's chaos there. Someone has to be paying attention.
Everybody knows about it, but
something has to be done.
Nothing's being done. There are no consequences.
Correct.
Unless the cop is right there, there's nothing that can be done. And we know better. We know that you can use CCTV to monitor this stuff and to track people down.
Do it.
But for some reason, we're not doing it.
And then, everybody knows that at the end of the month, the traffic cops are going to be on downtown by the Hilton when you come around that
they say they don't have quotas.
Not that they have quotas, but we know where you are. Right? So
is it really like that?
Yeah, they're always there. So whenever you see traffic back up in that area, more often than not, it's because the traffic cops are right there but that's the truth.
Okay.
Or if you come in from around Dunkin' down the hill and turning left towards Dunkin' Donuts, or there's the lady that's always on West Bay Street,
I don't think
right?
she tell people this.
But they need to be there. They need to do a good job. But there are other areas where there are more infractions. That's what I'm saying. Don't let it just be. Because that lady on West Bay, she shouldn't be playing. You can get a ticket, buddy. by a tiki hut, you will get a ticket. But we need to see consequences, like you say, using the cameras. If we don't have that resource, get the cops in those areas. The Treasury needs some money. I still waiting on my refund. They need their money, so.
Well, people need to suffer consequences for their bad behavior.
Correct.
Even more so than the Treasury making money. But you'll never learn if you are allowed to do it without any ramifications. Let's get these messages out quickly, and we'll take these calls, and we've got to take a break. This person says here, what is deterring reckless drivers to think twice about driving recklessly?
Right.
Exactly what you just said. These people don't care that they could kill mothers, fathers, and law-abiding citizens. Where is the constant police presence?
And they ain't scared to kill themselves.
Well, people don't care on the road. That's simple. They don't care because they ain't paying much for the car.
Wow.
Oh boy, I'm not gonna read that one. Okay. This person says here, the island is too small to speed. There is a sign by the graveyard which says, drive carefully, we can wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure, but also don't intentionally drive too slow.
Right. Not too slow.
Yeah, right. If the speed limit is 45,
Do 45.
you're not making sense doing 20.
Yeah, do
You're
45.
causing problems. Especially you and your friend in the next lane, both of you holding hands while you drive 20. That's a problem. That's a
Agreed.
problem.
Yes.
Both of you must do that. Get behind each other or get off the highway. Why are you even here? There are
Or even
alternate
just having
routes.
conversations to each other across.
That's another story. Let's take these calls really quickly. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight. How are you?
Doing well. Good morning.
Okay, and good morning to your co-host.
Good
I don't know the
morning.
name.
Good morning.
Duquesa.
Every
Duquesa.
Tuesday,
Good morning.
Duquesa,
Good morning,
yes.
Duquesa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing okay, thank you. And good morning to the nation. Before I say anything, I wanted to extend my heartfelt condolences to the to the mother and to the father, immediate and extended family of the brothers who lost their lives in the traffic fatality yesterday. May God continue to guide and strengthen them as they go through this very difficult process. On the next note, Dwight, things like I guess obeying traffic rules and respecting others on the road and driving to arrive alive and all those kinds of discussions are directly related to human personal behavior, right? And just to draw a connection, Dwight, similarly to crime, you can have all of the regulations, but it's still to a larger degree than anything else comes down to human behavior, right? Personal human behavior and responsibility. On another note, though, I believe that it's time in our country and throughout our very populated and busy family islands where we implement the technology using the cameras at very high speed in intersections or highways throughout the country or very busy and highly traveled roads throughout the country, right? Because if we could use technology, which is readily available and has been for decades, to assist us in this process of execution, right? On the behalf of the government officials who are charged with conducting the traffic checks and ensuring that persons are obeying the rules. I believe that would help a lot in curbing the behavior where there's clearly a lack from personal responsibility perspective or from the individual being someone who believes in abiding perspective. We have to use technology, Dwight, because if we can use those cameras to, for instance, issue tickets to individuals who are not complying with the road rules, that eventually will, in a huge way, it may hurt the driving population with those who are unprepared to comply with the rules. But it would also curb, in a very large way, a lot of the traffic accidents and incidences that take place on the roads every day. We have to implement that technology at those very highly traversed areas in the country, highways or byways, wherever they may be, highly traversed areas where we implement that technology that can issue tickets. And at some point after issuing tickets, then licenses may be suspended for a period of time until there's some level of rehabilitation and mindset to be on the road. And if there isn't, then license may be suspended indefinitely.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. And I believe that is a specific, that is a factor that can lead to a resolve in a real way, because we're losing too many people to traffic fatalities. Too many people. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take this final call, and then we got to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Okay. Hi, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Dwight Ducressa once again.
Good morning.
Really quickly.
It's very easy to solve some of these things on the roads. You know, we talk about the drivers' attitudes on the roads, but we also have to consider some of these vehicles that does not need to be on the road during certain times of the day, especially during rush hour where schools are now open. These large trucks, these 18-wheelers, these tractors, all of these, why are these vehicles not on the road before traffic is up? They could move in the early morning hours to get to their destinations without having to stifle traffic. And then lastly, you talked about the other day that turn off JFK on to heading towards Bahamas Boulevard that always merges in there. I'm now wondering why a mirror is not placed there for those drivers in that lane to see the oncoming traffic. Once you hit a certain angle at that point, you cannot see the oncoming traffic effectively. And if they were to put a mirror there, that would actually potentially solve the accidents that happen at that junction. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay, well, they really need to redesign it, to tell you the truth. It's awful. Yep, let's do this quick. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Belinda Wilson, President of the Bahamas Union of Teachers.
Oh, hi. Good morning.
Good morning. First of all, I would like to extend my condolences to the family of the young men that died on the road over the weekend. But I would recall that a couple of years back when Jeff Lloyd was the minister, there was a company in Grand Bahama that did driver's ed, and they provided a full proposal that I sent on to him, but they never heard back from him. So I always said, Dwight, talk about driver's ed. But someone did present a proposal. I'm certain of it.
Desperately needed.
Yeah, we do.
It was not followed up.
It needs to be mandatory in schools.
Yes.
Desperately.
Yeah. I know you've come off of the topic of school opening, so I want to, first of all, welcome back all of our teachers from Grand Bahama to Inagua, all of our members, guidance counselors, librarians, teachers' aides, all of them. But I hear a glaring report, that all the schools are open. We still have a number of schools that repairs are incomplete. Persons they're painting. There's major work going on. But what we ask them to do is to make sure to cordon off those areas where the work is being done. So we have work being done at Government High, Anatole Rogers, CC Suite, PH Reeves, Aaron Bailey, TG Glover, Eva Hilton, and other places. There are some other schools where they're doing painting, which we call soft work, or changing cabinets and lights and electrical, etc. So there's no perfect opening. But what it is that teachers always do what they do. They go in and they make things happen, and they work under conditions that are not normally accepted by other professionals. So we are monitoring the work that is incomplete throughout the Bahamas to the various schools. And again, I want to say thank you so much to the teachers who have gone into the various schools. It's not completely ready, but they're making it work.
All right, so Belinda Wilson, we'll get you on later this week for a full update on how this week went. We'll see if we can coordinate it. Thank you so much for calling in. All right, we got to take a break. We're going to be back. A whole lot more Morning Blend coming up. Stay with us.
Somalia, the sun gives her no mercy. The same sky we lay under burns her to the bone, long as afternoon shadows is gonna take her to get home. Each grain carefully wrapped up, pearls for her little
Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store
and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we could sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
Are you seeking exceptional health care beyond the traditional hospital setting? Introducing Doctors Hospital Clinics, your trusted destination for comprehensive care. Our full-service locations provide affordable services through our Loyalty Advantage membership program and NHI. Experience seamless care with our integrated health system, where your medical history travels with you, ensuring continuity of care. Book an appointment today at clinics.doctorshosp.com. We make primary care easy.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Introducing a simpler way to pay. Alive Now has all new VAT-inclusive plans to make your life as easy as 1, 2, 3. And that's not all. These hot new plans include more talk, more text, and more data. Try our new Freedom 4 plan, our new Liberty 30 plan, and a brand new plan for your MiFi device. Visit any of our stores or your MyAlive app today. Buying plans with Alive just got a whole lot simpler. You loved freedom. Now here's freedom simplified. Alive. Believe in best.
I'm a boatman, a seaman. My work is on the water. Free diving, thrown out line is how I survive. Listen. From foggy to yellowtail, from jackfish to killer whale, I jump in my dingy boat and I head on down the coast. I need a fish to bite, my kids gotta eat tonight, so I do what I gotta do, take some fish back for them to stew. I've been in the jail long, and I was made strong by my father's hand. He said, get fish boy to make your man. Once you got a big line, son, you'll be fine. Just keep your eye out for them road groupers passing by. I'm a boatman, a seaman. My work is on the water. Free diving, throwing out line is how I survive. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's go. Down the shore.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. Okay, we're changing gears this morning, and the announcement just made this week, the inaugural Anchor Awards from the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. It's going to be a big thing. Here to tell us all about it from the Ministry, we're very pleased to have back with us Candia Smith, and from the Bahamas Commercial Fishers Alliance, Adrian LaRota. Great to have you both with us this morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Dwight. Great to be here.
Good morning, Bahamas.
All right, so Candia, tell us about this. This is new.
This is
and this
new.
is exciting.
It's kind of funny because just a year ago we did the Agrarian Awards.
Right, and that was new.
Yes, and that was new, and that was different. And so it was told to us that, hey, you cannot not recognize the fishermen because this is all about food security, and the Ministry of Agriculture is all about food security. Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources. That's what we have to remember.
Right.
So Agrarian Awards is for the agriculture part, and now we are recognizing the brave men and women who brave the seas for food security along our seas.
Excellent.
So we're having the inaugural Anchor Awards. It's going to be held November 16th at Bahamas at 7 p.m. And this time, remember last time we couldn't sell tickets. This time we will be selling tickets.
Okay.
So we got bigger space. We learned from our mistakes from the Agrarian Awards. And yes, we are giving away cash money once again, over $50,000 in cash prizes. And so we're very excited about it. Right now, we are live on our Facebook page. You can just click on the top of the page and the nomination link will come up. And you nominate for several categories, actually, which is sponsored by Royal Caribbean International, who came on as a sponsor yet again. And it is $10,000 plus a cruise to anywhere that Royal Caribbean goes.
Wow.
The Minister's Award, another $10,000. Flat Fisher of the Year Award, another $10,000. Sports Fisher of the Year Award, another $10,000.
I need to get into fishing.
Commercial Fisher of the Year, $10,000. Prime Minister's Youth Fisher of the Year, $5,000. We're also recognizing the Fisher's Supporter of the Year, which will be a special award from the Department of Marine Resources. And that will be probably given to the Bahamas Marine and Sporter Association. And then we have a People's Choice Fisher Award, just like how we had it for our Agrarian Awards. You simply send a picture and a description to anchorawards242@gmail.com. We post a picture. Followers just like, as long as they follow, though. They have to be followers of the page. So you follow, you like, and as many followers like your picture,
if you get
you win, you get $2,500 in cash.
So you could potentially win 2 awards if you're the
You could.
People's Choice
You could.
Yeah.
You could. That's quite possible. But it's all cash money. It's all good fun. We hope to give outdoor prizes as well. Some sponsors are still coming up, but for now, let me recognize the sponsors that we do have. That's Tropic Seafood, who is our platinum sponsor, the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, which are sponsoring 2 awards, the Prime Minister's Youth Award and the Flat Fisher of the Year Award. Royal Caribbean International, as I mentioned, Harborside Marine, Brown's Marine of Adzuma, Boardwalk Seafood of Grand Bahama, Heritage Seafood, and our media partners are the Movie Group, the Kind Guardian Group of Companies, and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. So we are really excited for this event. It comes just before World Fisheries Day, which is November 21st. And so we are excited to have this part of our food producers celebrated.
Adrian, this must be amazing for all of you in the industry.
Yes.
This recognition. Is it finally, or is it a long time coming? You tell us more about that.
This has actually been a long time coming. And I'm first of all, good morning again, Bahamas. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be part of this initiative. When we were contacted by the DMR to get involved, I said, yes, of course. Initially, the Anchor Awards were to be part of the 50th anniversary, Independence Anniversary celebrations. But because so many things were going on at that time, we didn't want an important work that we do, we didn't want it to get lost in all of the celebrations, so we pushed it back a bit. So this is where we are now. The Anchor Awards is a great thing. We're going to be recognizing fishers from all over the Bahamas, and I'm going to ask fishers everywhere to please nominate. It's going to be a black tie event. This is the time for us to dress up, show out, red carpet, and show off. A lot of fishermen who have been in this sector for a long time, they are the unsung heroes. And COVID kind of taught us that, because at the time when things were really bad, fishers were allowed to be agitated, and fishers were allowed to go out and fish to be able to supply fresh, healthy food for our people. There are other things too. I mean, fishers, some of us, everything that we have is actually from the sea. And you go unrecognized, and fisheries are exports. We really are the 3rd pillar of this economy, believe it or not. Our exports always total about, basically we generate about $70 to $90 million a year. We can do more, but we prefer to keep it at that so that we can continue to export quality products from the Bahamas. Our fisheries are, and as it was said yesterday, the Bahamas enjoys the Marine Stewardship Council certification on seafood products. We are 8 countries in the world that have that certification. Oh boy! And it certifies that our seafood products are safe, sustainably harvested, and we have we have a good product that we can continue to produce and export and supply our needs for generations to come. Yeah. It's been long, and I'm happy that we're here now.
That's going to be so amazing to see fishermen dressed in their tux.
I've ordered my suit already. I don't want to tell you what it is, but it's going to be, it will be like a mere man.
That's what. This question, based on the awards, you outlined that there are a number of different awards, 10,000, all these different numbers going out. Is there like a criteria, or do you just have to be a fisherman?
Yes, the criteria is placed on the application form when you look at the Facebook page, but it was designed by the Department of Marine Resources. So once you nominate, the nomination will go to the Department of Marine Resources to make sure that it meets their criteria, and then a special blue ribbon panel will decide who are the finalists.
Okay.
So what's the difference between the Minister's Award and some of the other ones? What's the criteria for that one?
Well, I'm not quite sure that there is a special criteria for the Minister's Award. We're just seeing where people feel like they should land. Like there might be some Lifetime Achievement Award winners there who don't necessarily think they want the Minister Awards. Or you could just nominate for both and we will decide. So there isn't really a special criteria for the Minister's Award, so to speak.
Okay. You're hoping this will be an annual event, or what are we looking at?
Every 2 years. So what, you think I need a break?
So it's going to be Agrarian Awards one year and Anchor Awards the next year.
That's cool.
That's beautiful.
Trying to keep it balanced.
Yeah. No, that's pretty good.
Is the incentive behind the Youth Award designed to encourage younger people to get into the field?
Definitely, and that's why Bamsey took that right away.
Okay.
When we were looking for sponsorships, I said, Bamsey, do you want? They were like, of course we do.
Right.
We are all about the youth, and they have a great marine resources and science program there too. So, and their flat fishing program as well. That's why they also took that award as well.
Okay.
So yes. To answer your question, very much yes.
What is flat fishing?
Flat fishing is a bone fish.
The bone fish.
Bone fishing. You see the open boats and normally very shallow water.
Okay.
Sometimes you see you in ads you would see the person with a pole, and that's flat fishing.
Okay.
Bone fishing.
Okay.
So I was joking about getting into fishing, but there are people who should and are wondering if they should. Tell us about what they need to keep in mind. Younger people who are wondering if this is the industry for them.
Yeah, the fisheries sector in the Bahamas is actually a growing industry. Okay, we are now compliant with a lot of international certifications and all that, right? So, the days when, people who got into fishing were people who were considered at the bottom of the totem pole or the lower rung of the scale. Those days are gone. So what we're now doing is encouraging younger folks so that the fishery sector will not die by attrition.
Right.
Encouraging younger folks. We have children. We are encouraging them to understand this business and get into this business so that it could be treated as a business and not as a hobby. Right. There are regulations that are coming, not stringent regulations, but just to bring some management to the sector. That's going to require youth and energy. So it's a good business. It is a good industry to be involved in. I mean, it's fulfilling, and when you understand it, fishermen must be the only people that can work basically 4 months out of the year and enjoy a whole year's salary.
Right.
That's pretty good.
And I will tell you, and just right now, I just want to point out too that right now, because I kind of figured this question would be coming anyway, but now we're enjoying a good harvest. The harvest for the first month of the season, the harvest has been very good for our lobster harvest.
Right.
But the only downside is the price is still low. So we've asked fishermen to balance the two. Whether you want to continue harvesting a lot of product and getting a low price, or whether you want to cut back a bit and wait for the higher prices. But the industry it's strong. We're vibrant, and we will continue to work to keep it strong. Poaching is down tremendously, except in the north. But in the south, poaching is down tremendously. We're seeing, there's been a remarkable turnaround since the Defense Force has been out there doing what they're supposed to, doing their patrols.
Right.
We're happy. So right now, for the time being, if we don't have any, and I'm hoping that we don't, this should be a good year for fishermen to call the bounce back year.
Yeah. Poaching is down, but in the north, that means poachers coming from the north? That's
yes.
Oh boy.
Where is the north? Please. Help me out.
West of Bimini
Okay.
and west end Grand Bahama.
Okay.
So that's presenting challenges because
Yes, it's a big
they
problem.
don't look like they're just pleasure,
No,
supposedly.
almost as much business as we're doing.
My goodness.
And unfortunately, this guy seem to be untouchable. I mean,
Oh, wow.
and they're bold enough to always show you on Facebook what they're doing.
Yeah, we've seen those videos. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Wow.
But something has to be done. But it's kind of walking a tightrope, but something has to be done.
Yeah.
This is a whole show, but coming
Yes,
up
it
next,
is.
we're going to be talking about climate change.
Yes.
Are you seeing any effects of that?
Yes. Actually, climate change is real. And I'm glad that you're going to be having that conversation because I want to say, and I want to give a shout out to the Bahamas Commercial Fisheries Alliance. We're involved in a number of projects outside of, related to fisheries, but other projects. And one of them that we are involved in is a gathering data of our water temperatures in conjunction with the Met Office and the Department of Environment and an institute out of California. The name escapes me right now. But what we've been doing was we have sensors that we've been dropping in the water at 300 feet and 1,000 feet around the Bahamas. These sensors have been recording our water temperatures. And unfortunately, our water temperatures so far from this program started in late June, we've always recorded temperatures between 78 and 94 degrees, which is very warm.
Yeah. Right.
And that's at 300 feet. And if you know, I'm not a meteorologist, but we work with the meteorology department. And if you know that hurricanes, they thrive on hot water temperatures up to 300 feet. So we've been doing that. Only now, recently, the temperatures have kind of begun to cool off a bit, just west of New Providence. But in the southern Bahamas, off Andros, where we have the temperature gauges, unfortunately, north of the Bahamas, off Abacos, the water temperature is still extremely hot. So hopefully with this data gathering, we'll be able to better determine the strength of hurricanes, the frequency of hurricanes and all that. So it's a valuable thing. So we're doing this. So I just wanted to plug that in
Is
terms
that
of climate change.
impacting the fish or anything else we're seeing?
Fortunately, no, not at this point. We haven't seen any adverse effects from the warm water temperatures on fish, except that we find that some animals are moving closer to shore. We don't know quite what that is yet, but we're finding that more crustaceans are moving closer to shore now because of the warm water temperatures in deep water.
Is that good or bad?
We don't know yet.
Oh boy! All right, so it's a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
good or bad, but very exciting.
So can I just come back to the ball for a second? 'Cause I mean, I'm just visualizing these fishermen in these sexy suits and stuff, right?
Well, you should have been there for the farmers.
See, I can stay home. But what I wanted to know is, you have an entertainment lineup. Like, what is the night gonna look and feel like? Like, I'm so excited to hear of this
right now
experience.
we're looking at the Raw Bahamas Defense Force for providing the music, but the program is still
Yeah.
in
It's still
its
working.
You're gonna come back to tell us
yeah,
about
you're gonna
that.
come
Yes,
back
I
and
will
tell
come
us.
back and tell you. But
Absolutely.
It's still in its working phase.
Okay,
but,
good stuff.
The Agrarian Awards was a good night, and I expect the Anchor Awards to do even better, so that we could do even better
Yes.
each time we have our award show.
Yeah,
So
and can you say how much your tickets are yet?
$50.
Oh, okay, that's very reasonable for
very
Bahamas, especially.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can eat and drink all night.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. All right, so one more time, let people know about what they need to do to nominate and to get the process going.
Please go to our Facebook page. The first thing you will see is Nominate Now, and then you will see the link. Click on the link, and the application form is pretty much foolproof.
Okay.
And there you have it. You get your nomination in, and we look forward to getting a lot. That's what we need right now. And nominations end September 30th.
Okay.
We need time to
Yeah,
get the finalists together. We need time to determine winners. So September 30th is definitely the cutoff. After that, October 1st, we have to get moving.
And that's not too far away.
No, I
Time
feel like
forward.
it's a blink.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a
But very
blink away.
exciting. Candia Smith, Adrian Larota, thank you so much for being here.
Thank
this
you for
morning.
having us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Again, the Anchor Awards, the inaugural one, coming up in November. We're going to have more on that throughout the next few weeks here. But we're going to take a break and be back with Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
This gonna be a good day. Couple goldfish in the fair. Gotta get them on my stare. Fish money, fish shine like gems. Gotta go really for them. I pull up my fish traps. My boat loaded after that. More blessings all over sea ocean, a ceiling. My work is on the water, free diving, throughout life is how I survive.
Bahamas, are you ready? Keep the vibe alive. Music group, along with Alpha Sounds, presents the best of the best. Rake and Scrape Explosion Reloaded. This is the biggest one-day all-Bahamian concert of the year. Featuring KB, D-Mac, Abby, Mama D, Fan Sean, Shine 242, The Falcon, and more. Mark your calendars. It's going down November the 2nd at Super Club Races Ground. Tickets now available at BahamasEtickets.com or both Beauty Shack locations. General admission $60. VIP, Skybox, and Skypods also available. For more info, call 394-0819 or email keepthevibealive242@gmail.com. Experience the magic once again with more legends for one night only. Come party with us November 2nd at Best of the Best. Rake and Scrape Explosion Reloaded.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
We are different. We don't just use beef. It's fresh, never frozen. Our burgers are square because we never cut corners. Served hot off the grill with fresh lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and American cheese. We believe in fast food done right. Always serving fresh, never frozen beef. Order a hot, juicy Dave single, double, or triple. Made with fresh, never frozen beef. Now only at Wendy's. Different inside and out.
Ready to save? You can put $100 into the CFAL Savings Express Plan and make sure your money keeps growing. Earn interest on your savings while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. It's to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
RBC. RBC will find the right loan for all of you with competitive rates and extended terms to suit you. Whether it's for debt consolidation, your next vehicle, or home purchase, sometimes we all need a little more. No matter the reason for the loan, we're here to help you find the solution. RBC. RBC has all the loans for all of you. Let's start with a conversation today.
When you jump in your Japanese import and you turn the radio on, all you hear is... For the month of September, the Hit Spot will install a band extender in your Japanese import for the discounted rate of only $79.99, VAT included. Get your band expander installed today at the Hit Spot and listen to
Star 106.5.
Plus, get fresh news and smart talk on
Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Duquesa Dean. And this morning, they're with the group C2O, Climate Change and Environmental Advisory Unit out of the Office of the Prime Minister. We are very pleased to have back with us Director Dr. Rochelle Newbold and Climate Change Advisor Charles Hamilton. And we're talking about climate change, climate negotiations, climate finance, all of that. Good morning. Great to see you both again.
Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning, Dwight. Great to be back.
All right, so let's just get it out of the way. We were talking about this off here. There's still climate change deniers out there, and plenty of people who just say, hey, the world goes through cycles, and we're in no time we'll probably be having another cold period, and just learn to adapt. What do you say to people who still are thinking like that?
I guess
Get a little closer to that mic, Dr. Newbold.
If you just won't accept the facts as they have been scientifically verified, then there isn't much that you can say to individuals who want to hold a particular position. Notwithstanding, however, whether you think it's climate change or it's not climate change, or are you going to wait for another 100,000 years for the world to go into a freeze-like temperature change? The issue is that economically and socially, you're dealing with situations that are occurring right now, right? So you're going to either not be able to, and you just had your colleagues here from the Ministry of Agriculture talking about a fisheries undertaking. You're going to see changes in the marine environment. You're going to see hurricanes that are coming through. You're going to see your insurance rates going up. You're going to see that you're getting hot every day. Right. And so I don't know what you do with that type of information, but it's obviously indicating that there is a change going on.
During this week of the 5-year anniversary of Dorian, something unprecedented for this country. For people to still be talking like that is quite wild.
And yeah, we talk about Dorian, but we're consistently making historical firsts. Yeah. When Beryl came through and she did what she did and going around, and then we had those 3 systems forming at one time, and we weren't even good into the season, right? September, we're seeing the season going longer and longer into December, the first week, and looking like the second week. Yeah. But the problem for us...
starting earlier, too.
It's starting earlier, too. And the only time we're able to wear sweaters or jackets or whatever, fur, lace coats, and when we go to work now, because now the ACs are being cranked up so high to adjust with regards to the temperature changes that are going on.
And it's been a ridiculously hot summer this year.
Agreed. I was talking to someone that was like, why can't we just go back to precedented times? Why is everything unprecedented times going on, right? We are seeing some absolute limits being passed. And I just think we can all agree we need to be protecting our economy, our people, our environment. Whether or not you believe it's climate change, we need to be able to do the initiatives today and now so that our people can continue to thrive and not just survive. And that's what we're trying to do.
All right, so tell us more about C2O. Wonderful name, but it's climate. What exactly are you tasked with doing?
Well, our predominant task is to deal with the matters as it relates to climate change. So climate change, unfortunately for us as small island states, impacts everything that we do, be it economic, be it social, be it a level of governance, be it health, education, all of it is impacted. So our job within the government is to go ahead and find ways and means to be able to address these needs that are unprecedentedly being forced upon us through the financial mechanism that was agreed globally to address it, right? So we had the Paris Agreement. We have all sorts of other sides agreement where we are saying that this is what we're going to do because the situation has been created by our developed partners, right? The utilization of fossil fuel, the Industrial Revolution, all of this has contributed to the rise in the global temperatures. And this has been documented. And far back as the 1980s, scientists were decrying that this was on the horizon. So they were recommending, they were suggesting, they were trying to cajole us as governments to change the position and the trajectory that we were on because we would be faced with these things. Now the rooster has come home to roost, right? And now we're sitting in meetings, negotiating, how are we going to deal with this global issue? Before, it was just the voice of 39 countries who were saying, hey, we're sinking, hey, we're dealing with storms, hey, we have issues of drought. How is this going to be addressed? And our developed countries were all of the opinion, okay, so we're going to identify you as having special circumstances because we're not part of the 7 continents. We're just rocks out there in the ocean. So any swift changes, any big winds that come up, we're going to feel it and we're going to feel it deep. So there was an agreement whereby we would all do our part. There would be financial resources that would be made available. There would be mechanisms that were created, such as agencies whose job it was to provide monies, funding. And this funding wasn't just given to you willy-nilly now. You had to actually have programs and projects projects and a political will to implement certain things to aid your people, to adjust your economy to these shocks that it was supposed to be experiencing, that everybody knew was coming down the pike, while our developed partners looked at changing the technology that they were utilizing so as not to contribute to these issues. And while we have been focused predominantly on the issue of fossil fuel, because everybody will talk about going green, using renewable energy and all of this sort of stuff, science is now saying that, listen, fossil fuel is not the only issue that's now impacting us. Nature, our abuse of nature is now also getting into tipping over this table that's just barely being held up. And our ability to adjust both these things may start to help us get back to a level of some equilibrium about what's going on. Because even if every small island state in the world went zero in terms of its contribution to climate change, we will still be having the hurricanes. We will still be having the droughts. We will still in Europe and in North America and Canada. These things are still going to happen. And that would be because we are not major contributors to this issue. But we are the sensitive ones because we're living on limited land spaces with limited resources. So we're going to be impacted by it.
Okay.
So
you said a whole lot there. I got questions about every single sentence practically. Well, okay, but one of the most recent things you said was our abuse of nature. Tell us exactly what you mean by that. Give us some examples of that.
So, one of the things that our office is dealing with is the issue of carbon credits and rolling out this whole economic financial platform within country. So while we are in the international space and we're talking about how we can assist our developed partners by our continued enhancement and our conservation attributes as it relates to our physical environment in the Bahamas, that's our history, that's our legacy. We love the sea, we love the environment, we continue to contribute to it. So we're seeking not to just be going around asking for monies from people to help us as a country, but we're creating a financial mechanism through the carbon credits, through the protection and the utilization of our green, our seagrass beds, right? The ocean absorbs 53% of all carbon emissions, right? And we, as a big ocean state, when you look at the region, we are the largest beneficiaries of that absorption rate. We are the guardians of that big, large resource. So we're going to say, let's go ahead and protect these seagrass beds because we know, and science has proven that these seagrass beds absorb way more CO2 emissions than the Amazon rainforest.
Wow.
And actually, the Amazon rainforest is reaching a point of tipping where they will not be able to absorb any more CO2 because we're just emitting so much, and they have been doing that job for so long that they're coming to max capacity, right? So we're putting that out there. And then we're going to have our partners saying, oh, no, we don't need to worry about the seagrass beds. We'll just invent some technology. We'll just sequester and suck the CO2 out of the air with this technology that we're using, and then we'll bury it in the ground. So how many of those shares do you want to buy, right? So here we are. We're now competing with people who are so technologically driven that rather than utilizing nature, which does it at no additional cost, no special construction or materials that are going to be needed to do this, no time limit set on, oh, if we pump it into the ground, there's so much cracks and fissures in the ground, isn't it going to just slip out through some other means and ways of escaping when Mother Nature knows how to lock it down and keep it down, right? Because grass, plants take in the CO2, they stay in the CO2. The cow eat the grass. The cow then absorbs that CO2. It stays in the cow. Then we eat the cow, and it comes into us, and it stays into us until we die, right? And why are we trying to outwit nature? It's something that's already been in place. Our interaction with nature by the use of an industry, fossil fuels and other chemicals that we keep trying to change things has only worked negatively for us because we've created problems for ourselves that were not there. There is this big resistance about the use of changing from fossil fuel combustion engines to EV electric engines. And people have so much concerns. Am I going to run out of power? How far can I go? Et cetera, right? And not to say that these concerns aren't valid, but the issue still is going to be, we will have to make a change. I always tell my friends, when you see something cheap, you should pause and really think this through. Bahamians have been buying a lot of these small, little, cheap cars. Very cheap. Everybody got one, right? Why do y'all think it's so cheap? Countries are moving away from combustion engines and they're utilizing EVs. So when their factories stop making these engines, because they're getting rid of their stock of those resources, where you going to get your brake pad from? Where you going to get your carburetor or radiator, key chains, what? None of those things, the parts are going to be available because the manufacturer has switched over to a different technology. And all countries have made a commitment by 2050 to reduce their CO2 emissions. And they're doing that. And they're dumping old technologies on us. And to use the word dumping, that's a two-pronged approach. Because we're readily accepting it. Yeah. We're readily accepting it.
So just to go a little bit deeper into Dwight's question of the abuse of nature, I understand all of that. When we talk about what we do, what are the things that we do to generate this poison? Like what are we doing that we are abusing?
Charles?
Yeah, it could be something as simple as, are we choosing to cut down trees instead of maintaining them for our shade? Are you choosing to pour oil or other chemicals into the ground rather than properly disposing of it? Are we choosing to anchor in places where we shouldn't be anchoring and ripping up seagrass, breaking up coral, all for the sake of economics, right? And we know that there is a balance that we have to take between protecting our environment and ensuring that the economy can work. But if you only put economics at the front of it, you will end up suffering the consequences. And so what we want to tell people, it isn't about the short-term gains. We know that we need to be able to make money in our pockets, but think about the whole issue of protecting for your children and your children's children. The issue with the cars that Ms. Newell brought up, this is why you're seeing certain parts being taken from cars, because they're so difficult to find. Because we have accepted that, yes, we need to be able to move around in order to get our jobs done. But the investment that it takes to put into one of these smaller, cheaper cars is going to come back to bite you in the end. And that's why we're seeing so many cars just sitting around, dilapidated, leaking out whatever fluids they have, because we said that the short-term gain to bring in something for $2,000 or $3,000, maybe with customs $5,000 or $6,000. I get it. When we need to move around, we want to move around. But I think it's that we need to be able to start thinking as a community. We all don't need a vehicle in order to move around. How can we work together to carpool? How can we work together to be able to ensure that we purchase more efficient vehicles? How do we ensure that you don't get on your neighbor's case when they talk about you doing particular work in your yard that's leaching into our water table? Right. And then when the police comes in, man, why are you getting up in my grits, right? We're not doing this because we're trying to stop economics. We're doing this because at the end of the day, if we only follow the almighty dollar, we're going to certainly end up regretting later that we spent everything here and our future has been, I guess we drew down from our future by focusing on the present.
Wow. So we talk about it all the time. We know the Prime Minister's out there talking about this. You all are at conferences all the time talking about this stuff. We're calling on the big countries to do their part. But what are we doing here? Like what you talked about, Charles, to ensure that we aren't just looking at it from that narrow, short-term point of view. Are we really practicing what we're preaching out there?
So going back to your first question when you said what is our job as far as the CCEAU, right? Our job is to bring home opportunities to help people get over that hump to make the connections from A to B. So we will be rolling out several opportunities to the private sector. We just had in July 2 very large conferences, the Climate Change Conference and the Sustainable Development Goals Conference. Both these conferences were to bring to the forefront of the public, and particularly our youth, because these are the individuals who are going to inherit whatever this is that we're going to leave behind. And if they are not prepared to make the necessary adjustments, then they're going to be the ones that are struggling, and we may find ourselves as a country that no longer exist, because we talk about the brain drain. We might even have the climate migration drain, where we don't have people here because nobody is able to survive. The issue of the Arawak Indians, while they were scooted off in boats and taken away, we may be suffering the same thing. Remember, we were not the original inhabitants of this land. We became the guardians of it by virtue of the fact that we were here and we took control and ownership of it. But we need to also be better managers of it, right? So we'll be rolling out in short order several opportunities to the private sector. We talk about the issue of the transportation, right? And the need to, and Bahamians are like, oh no, I need my own car. And furthermore, this public transportation, this ain't working for me, right? So when we talk about moving away from the issue of fossil fuels to a more environmentally friendly mode of transportation, that means that we need to make the public sector, the public transportation, more environmentally sensitive. So where are the EV buses that we can use? A lot of us travel around the world, and we've ridden them, and they nice, you know. And they even have opportunities where if you were a cyclist, you can put your bike on the bus and you can get around. If you were a person in a wheelchair, you can actually now get around. So moving our people that next step further along in a development. We 50 now.
51 now.
51 now. See, now just like a woman, I ain't gonna tell you my real age. We 51 now, and we need to therefore show that maturity and that development that's reflective of it. We shouldn't be doing the same things that we did before, where we know they're not benefiting us in the full gambit of benefits that could be accrued.
But you're out of the office of the Prime Minister, though. I mean, can't you make this with the stroke of a couple pens, make this happen, make this a reality?
You cannot legislate morality. That has to be something that comes from it in the people. You have to educate people and make them aware. And even when you do that, you got the climate deniers, right? But when people are able to resonate with personal benefits, they're on board. They are on board with that. We have been traditionally accustomed to, you grow up, you get a good job, you get a good education, you get a good job, but then you leave your parents' home, you buy your own land, right? And the first thing you do is you clear that down and you build your own house, right? And then you start a cycle that your children then follows. If we continue that same habit, we're going to have a lot of houses, a lot of concrete ovens that are going to be walking around here because ain't no trees that are going to be around to help keep this ambient temperature down that we're experiencing. And also, we're going to find that we all can't buy them house because we can't buy them land because we on an island and you run out of land, or we end up building in inappropriate places. And then when hurricane come and we say, please evacuate, and then people be like, I ain't evacuating, I ain't never leave my house before, I ain't leaving it now. But you was never living in a place that was inappropriately built on. So when it was a wetland, it served that purpose for a reason by virtue of nature. So now you forcing nature not to do what she would have normally done because of the topography on which you now stood. Therein lies a problem.
We saw that on Saturday.
Exactly.
Are there current consequences outside of the morale issue? Like, are there current consequences for builders who are developing land that should be for wetlands, or are there current consequences for people riding in cars that are emitting that stink, nasty exhaust, right? So, and other ways that the climate is being impacted. What are the consequences now, and are they, being enforced?
Okay, so let me go back to the statement I made. If we went net zero in the Bahamas, we would still be experiencing climate impacts. So whenever you try to legislate a change or take a policy position, you have to weigh a cost-benefit respect to that. if we went around ticketing every bus that had an exhaust, that bus using fossil fuels, right? So that those exhausts are based on fossil fuels, but it also has an impact for the maintenance. The bus really shouldn't be. It's only that way because proper maintenance hasn't been applied to the bus. But we don't have. Say for the Bahamas, we're not suffering an air quality control. We have these limited areas and periods of time where the air quality can be impacted because you got a 50 million thousand cars on the road at one time in the morning, everybody trying to get. But then after 30 minutes of that high traffic, then we back to being on the list of the world's best air quality country in the world because we have these crosswinds, right? So we have to be intentional about what we're seeking to do. And small changes like taxing every taxi driver or every bus is not going to bring that big benefit that we're looking for. But when you talk about the issues of the environment as a whole, so clearing non-land, right, or building in inappropriate places, yes, those are things that are big benefits, big payoffs. So yes, the government in 2020 rolled out the Department of Environmental Planning and Protection Act. We have an environmental requirement where everybody, every subdivision, every builder has to do and get a CEC, a Certificate of Environmental Clearance. Okay. In order to get that, you have to show that whatever you're proposing to do on that property is in keeping with the benefits that would be accrued if that environment was still allowed to continue to contribute its benefits to the persons that are living on it. Okay. That is fundamental, right?
Charles, I know you may want to say something for a bit.
Yeah, no. I think that some of the matters that you see government trying to roll out, taking into account both public spending and plus blended finance. We're seeing the renewable energy microgrids that are coming on board. As Mrs. Newball has highlighted, we are looking to try and unveil some things with the private sector to be able to, one, get grant or concessional financing to advance certain projects in different areas related to climate change mitigation and adaptation. And being able and going out in these forums, we've been able to engage with partners who have said, okay, we see the Bahamas is serious about this. We're willing to offer financing. And that came through, I saw this at the Bahamas Development Bank was a beneficiary of that, concessional financing to small and medium-sized businesses to be able to advance work among young people, among persons with disabilities, among women, to advance areas related to climate change and the SDGs. It's because we go out in these forums and we are putting out the reports to show what we plan to do. People are saying, okay, we see that you're serious about this. Let's go ahead and partner with you. But even though Bahamians may understand that we go to these different forums and conferences and whatnot, you will still be surprised. You're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't go to the same meeting, even though the country or the organization is paying for me to come. Until you go and you begin to talk about the Bahamas' national circumstances and what we are doing, and persons are like, this is the first time I'm hearing about this.
My goodness.
Right? So yes, we know that people here understand that the Prime Minister and ourselves are going out and talking about this issue of climate change, but persons who have connections to the money, to the philanthropies, to the technology, to all of these resources, they don't come to every single meeting. So you cannot turn down an opportunity to be able to engage and, push your country's agenda. And even then, when we come, we tend to be the loudest, and then the rest of our Caribbean colleagues are like, yeah. And we also have this, and we also have that, and we also need this. And so I just want to tell people, the negotiation and the representation, it is working. Is it working at the speed that people want? People want stuff now. Yeah. But these matters, they do come, and we're looking forward to being able to come on here, Dwight, when we have some of these initiatives to bring on the private sector, because we know that government can't do it all by itself. Right. And I'm looking forward to see our Bahamas change positively.
All right, we've got a lot of calls coming. We want to get to those in just a bit, but I want to talk about carbon credits. You mentioned it earlier, but how this really works. For a lot of people, there's been criticism that we're going to bad behavior and take money for that. I'm simplifying it greatly, but really explain to us how we will benefit from this, and yet still possibly not even have a country when it's all said and done.
So what I don't think people appreciate is that when you engage in a negotiation, there's a lot of pieces that come together to make that complete picture, right? So for the Bahamas, like for us, when we saw seagrasses, that was the piece of thing you don't swim over because you don't know what in that. We scared. You don't know
It's real funny on your feet.
Right. And sometimes that level of, lack of knowledge has caused us to dig it up, to do all sorts of damages to it. So now when we get the science to come in and say, hey, listen, we just found out that this seagrass actually absorbs more CO2. Like I said, the oceans absorb 50% globally. And your seagrasses absorb more than the Amazon rainforest. I think you guys can do something with this. So that's one picture. That's the nature-based picture, right? And then you have the development picture where you have car companies and tech companies who need and utilize fossil fuel. I mean, what the airplanes can fly on if it ain't fuel, right? They ain't gonna put a bunch of solar panels on the wings and that gonna be enough. No, that's not how it works.
Sounds good, though.
You go. So they already have an understanding that they're going to need some time to develop the technology. We all know phones come out every year, right? There's always
upgrades.
But the technology and the research behind that phones is 10 decades of work that's being undertaken. And they only roll out small packets because that's how they make their money, right? So the same thing applies to the transportation industry, and we're going to use that as an example. Airplanes know that the issue with fossil fuel is going to become a limited circumstance for them. And until they have an opportunity to find an alternative, they also want to acknowledge the fact that they're contributing to a problem, but they need to address it. So in terms of what you're saying about we will only be perpetuating people's bad behavior. The climate credit space doesn't allow for that, right? Because the only way we can sell credits to an individual who's looking for some is if they have a plan with a timeline that says, hey, I need 5 years before I can utilize the technology. So I only want to buy carbon credits that are going to fit this gap of emissions that I will be creating for that 5 years until I'm able to switch over to this new technology. Because I have a whole manufacturing plant with technology that's old. I can't tomorrow just dig it all up and then throw in some new stuff because the new stuff isn't ready to go forward with. So I need that support. And that's what that's able to do. And it's only available for that period of time. After that period of time is over, you should have already done what you needed to do.
How far along are we in this? Are we benefiting yet? Are we getting any money from this, or are we still years away?
No, we have not rolled out, we haven't sold any carbon credits, and we're still talking to our purchasers because, like I said, then we also now finding out that they're like, oh, we don't need to buy carbon credits. We'll just create this new technology and suck it out of the air, and that's how we'll deal with the problem. And so now, not only am I trying to engage with you to tell you this is an opportunity for you, I now have to deal with you and say, what the nonsense is you talking about again? I don't understand. It's not making any sense. And then we all have to globally agree that this is how we want to proceed. You can't have rogue countries just offering things and saying this is going to fix the problem that we're all globally being impacted by. We all have to come to a point of agreement. So as Mr. Hamilton said, our presence in the room continues to drive the point that nature is what's going to help us through this as long as we do what we need to do to make sure to remove these impacts that we can take out of this narrative.
Is there a timeline? How long do you think it'll take before we get to the point where we can sell and the credits like that?
I would say give us another 36 months.
Okay.
Give us another 36 months. Yeah, it's really right there on the horizon, and we're looking at different options and where we're going to be able to move forward with it. But do not think, and just so while I get everybody's attention, you ain't getting nothing in the mail, okay? There ain't no check coming in the mail. The monies that are going to come from these initiatives are going to go back into the economic and social safety nets that we built for everybody. So everybody is going to benefit at one time. No particular group or sector, but everybody. That's the whole intent, leaving nobody behind.
All right, we are talking with Dr. Rochelle Newbold and Charles Hamilton with C2O. We can get your questions in. Give us a call, 323-6232. 325-4316, 242-325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, or text us, 422-4796. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning to your guest.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, I may have missed the question about gas, but what impact do you believe cutting down of our hills, moving all of those cedar trees out west, then you look at all of the other stuff that would have, I believe, assisted with, mitigating against a lot of this flooding. But what impact do you think that have on all of this flooding that we are seeing now? It seems that no area is safe, or in terms of flooding. One, we have 2 days. It's difficult to even commute. What's going on with that? What impact do you think our legislators had to play with that? Because they've allowed everybody to cut down anything what they want to cut down.
Okay. All right. And along with that question, people are asking, and we've been wondering, we know that we have destroyed the hills on this island. What role has that played in getting us to the point where we are and what we saw over the weekend?
Yeah. So it's a two-prong issue. So yes, like I said, we've modified the environment. We cut down the hill so we could fill in the wetland, because that's where we take the fill too, right? Because you got to build up that house, right? Bring up that foundation. That's what we've done. We've cut down the hills and we put it in the wetlands. So now the wetlands aren't doing what they're supposed to do, acting as a sponge, drawing the water away from the center of the island back to the coast so that it could go back out to sea, right? And then we also have the issue of climate change. So climate change is creating an abnormal weather event where we see squalls and these heavy deluges of rain that are coming on islands. I mean, we always in Providence understood that the West got more rain than the East.
I didn't know
right?
that.
Yeah, well,
really?
Yeah, the West.
Why
that's why
that?
all
Because
the farming was always on the west side of the
Really?
island, because the water was there and the soil was there, and the East just always got less. That's just the way it was. But now that we've manipulated the island, we've changed the way things are going to run. We've put roads into places that they were not in before, right? The more you concretize or you tar over a surface, preventing it from being permeable, meaning that water can be absorbed by it, then the water to sit there until the sun evaporates it. Or you continue to drive through it and keep flinging it. Because I see some people try to fly through it. You can take a picture of it, right? And then we got these small vehicles who trying to swim through it, and then they get stuck, right? So that's another issue. But the low-lying levels of where we're putting the roads, the issue of where the road was before having to be the low elevation of where we are, where the wetlands would have already, like you talked about the out west. That road on the out west, to the south of that is a whole marshy area. So that marshy area is extended straight across. If you look back at maps of New Providence in the 1940s and the 1930s, you would be surprised at how many wetlands there were.
Most of the island was swampy.
Exactly. Right? That's why Baintown and over the hill city, that's why people lived there.
Yeah.
When you look historically at where we lived in places that were not prone to flooding, or
only along the coastline.
Or didn't retain the waters. But now our population numbers are increasing. Our children need to get out of our houses. They need their own piece of property. And so now we have developers who are just
doing a good job in Nassau. So everybody come up in Nassau.
Right.
Wow.
All right, but we know this now. We've known this for a little while. Yet the hills still, the few that are left still seem to be getting cut down. We see this on Bernard Road. They're still excavating there. Why is that? Why is that allowed to happen?
Good question.
On Bernard Road?
Yeah, well, in the Fox Hill area. I'll take you.
I'll take you.
They're still doing it.
Okay. So, I mean, I can't answer the question. That would be something that the Ministry of Works, the Department of Physical Planning would have to answer, because they would have been the ones who would have given the excavation permit. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes some things are legacy approvals, and I don't know. So you'd have to find out.
So how do you balance the need for progress and evolution with the need to protect nature's resources, right?
So
what can we do?
That means that we as humans, we're the ones who have the flexibility of modifying our behavior. Nature has one purpose, and it seeks to carry that purpose out. It doesn't have options, right? Fish swim, they don't fly. They got one job, and that's what they do well. It is us who seek to modify, to change, to manipulate, to bend the will. And while in and of itself, that's not a bad thing, it's how we do it. When we do it, like Mr. Hamilton was saying, when we just do it for the present benefit with no consideration of the long-term impacts, then nobody wins. Nature fails, and we fail too, because those roosters come home to roost, and then we then have a problem. In order to modify our behavior, she makes some cultural changes. Saying, culturally, everybody had their own piece of land. The population numbers, the island isn't expanding, so we need to modify how we develop. I mean, when we go to Europe and we see those historic countries, everybody ain't sitting on 5 and 6 acres of land. You know, they're living in condominiums, they're living in more multi-family sorts of construct. That's where we're headed, folks. That's where we're headed.
Plus, as you said, we've got a whole lot of other islands, too. We don't all have to be piled up here on what was formerly marshland, New Providence. Let's take this call. We're running out of time. But good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to your guest, the Crescent, the panel.
Morning.
Yeah, listen, I agree with everything your guest is saying, right? But to be honestly, right, I mean, within myself, as it relates to the science, right? It's not an intellectual conversation. Now, we can agree with the anthropogenic activity that is taking place, right? But when we look at, firstly, if you are familiar with the isotopes of carbon, and carbon is the source of all life, and we deserve more money for this carbon construct credit because not only is the seagrass offsetting and photosynthesizing, there are zoo-like or animal part-like plants, and also certain species of snails that they know that they now steal chlorophyll from algae, and they also photosynthesize. And then the question becomes for me, as I breathe out CO2, and CO2 is released, and we don't have any data on natural causes of CO2 in the atmosphere versus anthropogenic activity, and the ratio of carbon-12, carbon-13 within the carbon dioxide to prove whether it came from fossil fuel or it's carboniferous that God put here. So we have to be sincere with these conversations and just don't repeat narratives. And then, I'm not a climate denier, but during the Cambrian period, right, we had CO2 levels up to 4,000 parts per million. So what I'm saying is, we don't have data. That's when you burn, when the forest catches fire, the volcano erupts. So carbon dioxide is not only being added to anthropogenic activity. So the question then becomes, are you planning on taxing the CO2 that I breathe out? You have to be able to tell the difference. And as it relates to them cutting down the trees, right, Dwight, it shows that they're not serious because when you study the actual science, you will worship a tree to realize that the bigger its cambium or its biomass is, the more CO2 it offsets. And as it relates to net zero, it's a farce. Please, let's have an intellectual conversation. There are plants, listen to me, and also, remember
really
now,
quickly, we're running out of time.
What plants don't even photosynthesize? So this could affect plant life. I agree with your guest with everything she said, but with the science. Because plants need ideal temperatures, so when the sun is excessive, don't think that's really, really conducive. Plants really, they photosynthesize, they need sunlight, but when the sun gets too hot, it's a problem. That's the reason why xerophytes, certain species of cactus, they don't photosynthesize in the day, and they do it in the night. So you see, I've been down all these labyrinths, and I'm willing to challenge anybody with real science and come on the radio and speak the truth. Not just people coming on, repeating what they were told.
Well, these are scientists too, so I mean, I don't know what you're trying to say. But who's the they about the trees? That's us, right? The public who's doing that because there are rules, there are things you're supposed to do, and yet people still do whatever they want to do. So that's a challenge there. Okay, there's a texter here who keeps sending us messages like this, but let's see if we can get this resolved once and for all. Oh boy, brace yourselves. Feminine hygiene products also contribute to climate change through resource-intensive product production, plastic waste, and waste disposal practices. Why aren't we adding this to the public discussion and narrative for change? Yeah, seriously. I mean, but can we once and for all so they'll stop?
I mean, to pick out feminine hygiene products. I mean, everything we doing, the bread, the cookies, the Cheetos that I get, all of these have plastics, right? Every manufactured thing that we do, has implications for its contribution to the issue of climate change because of the manufacturing process that's involved in the production of the resource, right? So everything. There's no one particular thing that actually, let's look at the disposable clothing that we use, the cheap clothes we buy. That's more of an impact for climate change than the feminine hygiene products that only get used once a month by females throughout the world. I mean, I don't know anything like that.
Even beyond that, there is the fast fashion bit. People don't realize that when you return your clothing that you buy online, most of that winds up in a garbage dump. The fashion industry has found that it is cheaper for them to put it in a dump, incinerate the clothing than to repurpose it and resell it, because there is people feel weird wearing clothing that someone else has. And so I get what they're saying. Anything that has manufacturing and uses fossil fuel will have a greenhouse gas emission associated with it. But there are going to be some sectors that will be hard to switch and have their use. What we need to do is try to address those sectors that we can do. And so just think about that with your fashion. That's all I have to say.
So one thing we wanted to tell our Bahamian people, guess who is going to be speaking at Climate Week at the United Nations come September? Of all the people in the world, all the leaders in the world that could have been chosen, guess which country and which leader will have that honor to set the stage and commence the narrative? But our very own Honorable Prime Minister, Philip Davis.
All right. When is that going to be? And tell us all about that really quickly.
September 22nd through 29th is Climate Week. And yes, it certainly is going to be an opportunity for the Bahamas to be able to set the stage and the narrative about why we need to advance climate action. And I certainly know that we'll see some more opportunities coming out there for our people and our country, because, again, I say, not everybody who can make an impact for our country is at every single meeting. And so the fact that the Prime Minister has this significant platform to speak on is an honor, and we certainly will be leveraging the opportunities that come out of that to bring opportunities for our people in country.
And this is going to be at the UN in New York?
Yes, the UN in New York.
Excellent. September 22nd. Exciting stuff. You all are definitely welcome to come back. You know this. We have a whole lot more that we could talk about and a lot more to talk about. But Dr. Rochelle Newbold and Charles Hamilton with C2O, thank you for being here. And I'm sure we'll talk after the Prime Minister's address. I'm sure there'll be a lot to talk about.
Most definitely.
We appreciate the work that you are doing. DeQuesta Dean, thank you for being here this morning.
Hey, wait, I have to tell my brother Ryan happy birthday today.
Okay.
So thank you. Happy birthday, Ryan.
Wonderful stuff. Everybody pick up today's Nassau Guardian and the Guardian Business section for the latest in business news. This portion of the show brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
For fast, reliable, and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.